Welcome to another episode of Dollar Dorks. This is episode 18. On this podcast, we aim to share video game buying and selling tips, give suggestions on games to watch for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully change the perception that some people have of video game sellers in the collecting community. With me today are my co-host Chris, CWR, the Garage Sale Samurai. And we have Eric, MightyQDawg, the Master System Master. I called you here. And I am Derek of Two Dorks. Let's get started with just shooting shit. I had the Barry Game Exchange the 2 weekends ago, right? Not this past weekend, the one before, yep. And I was not a vendor this time, but I went with my wife and son as just a VIP patron kind of thing, just a shopper. It wasn't a huge shopping trip for me. We were just kind of trying to get my son going to basically his second swap ever and get him, see how he behaved too, because last time he was a little bit hyper. It was about a year and a half ago. He's only 5 years old now, so but I did pick up some stuff, nothing crazy, but I did some trades with other people. I picked up a Booyah controller. I picked up Grand Theft Auto for PS1 for my brother, a Smash Bros. Link amiibo to resell, brand new in box. Some other random stuff, PSP games, and there's actually a vendor who was very generous and gave my son a free amiibo of his choice, basically just from the Animal Crossing ones.
Yeah,
and
right.
yeah,
like
he also had Disney Infinity characters that my son could choose from, but of course he's not going to use them anyway. He'd rather have an amiibo if he has a choice, even if it's a Animal Crossing. But then, as we were walking away, he said, "Are you interested? Do you have a Nintendo DS?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Do you want some DS games?" And he pulled out his entire binder that he had for sale there of DS games and GBA games and said, "Do you want the whole binder for $20?" I'm like, I guess. I flipped through it and saw a couple of the games were good. Like, he had Mario Pinball Land for GBA, DK King of Swing, Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town was the most valuable one, Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Yeah, but you already got your $20 right there.
Exactly. And then there was, on top of that, after I got it home and checked, there was a total of 79 games.
Oh, even at $1, if you sold them for $1 a piece.
Exactly. So I put them on my spreadsheet. That many of them at $20 came out to 25 cents each. And I think one of them was a little bit higher just to make up the difference.
Sure, one's probably
50
27
cents for Land 4. Just that's one I wanted to keep anyway. So that is actually the second most valuable one. I got going through them and I realized there's a couple fake games in there which he had priced at full price. I don't know if he just didn't know. Wouldn't surprise me. But that's okay. I don't mind having the fake games. I can just let my son play with them. So yeah, Barry Game Exchange, that was fun. I actually sold something at the Barry Game Exchange too. I was walking around with my cell phone on one of those camera stabilizers, motorized stabilizer for smooth video.
Yeah.
Basically gimbal. And one of the vendors said, "I wish I would have brought one of those." I'm like, "Well, this one's for sale." He said, "How much?" I said $100. He was interested and asked to see it. I just showed it to him with my phone on it, and he's like, "Sure, I'll buy it." I said, "Well, I'll just go to the car. Well, I'll finish recording the rows, go to the car, get the box, and bring it back to you." So I brought it back to him, and he bought it off me right then and there.
Great.
So he's a YouTuber. The Last Game Hunter is his name. And I made money off that sale too. Because I bought the gimbal on Kijiji for $70.
So what exactly is a VIP shopper?
Well, I just mean I went in early. I was kind of taking a
I see. So did you do like Eric and Melissa, get a VIP badge and then go in only 10 minutes before everybody else?
No, I went in 5 minutes after everybody else because I went back to get my GoPro out of the car. But I still got in pretty early. Lots of times, so. But I did set up cameras, and I plan to do a video on that. I always dread editing long footage like that, and I also want to make it look good, so it's just a challenge to try and do that. But I got really good footage with the stabilized camera, the GoPro I was holding, and I also set up a GoPro behind Hodge's table in time lapse to catch everybody just kind of walking around. So
that's really cool.
3 to do video on. Yeah, should be fun. That's all I really.
That's cool.
You, Eric? PRG?
Yeah, I don't know. Do we want to talk that far ahead? Yeah, PRG's coming up. I guess it's still a month and a half away, but already preparing for it, trying to get the house ready for it, and it's always a time where I think about doing some game room reorganizing and stuff like that. And I'm still recovering from Game On Expo and C3. I got a bunch of boxes back here trying to clean those up. So it's a time for game collection maintenance, I think.
Well, hopefully you won't have to deal with a dust storm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Had a couple of those in Phoenix, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you missed it.
We just missed it. We got out of town, and I was reading your guys' updates because you weren't the only ones who were delayed by it. I noticed like Pat and Ian and a couple other people were posting on their Twitter how their flights were delayed.
Yep.
I thought, man.
Yeah, it came right at the end of the day there and it messed up air travel and all that stuff. But I took some pictures, but you can't really tell there's a dust storm going on. It's too close range, you got to see them from a distance. But anyway, just in between expos right now and trying to get ready for the next one.
Just living expo to expo, right?
Well, it's that time. Yeah, I guess it's normally we have a big gap between expos. I go to Cowlitz, which is in April, and then there's nothing until October. But this year with C3 and with Game On Expo, we have made a couple trips and bought a bunch of stuff. And
yeah, at least PRG is going to be in your own backyard.
Yeah, it'll be nice to be able to just dump stuff in the car trunk, right? Not have to worry about flying at home or anything like that,
or shipping it to yourself.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it'll never come to that. I'd rather use luggage if possible.
Just throw some clothes out, you'll be fine.
Yeah, clothes, those are replaceable.
Exactly. The games, they're harder to replace.
They're harder to get. Yeah.
And probably cheaper. Or the clothes are cheaper.
That could be.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of people just going to Goodwill or something, and going to a thrift shop and buying a piece of luggage just to.
Yeah, we almost did. We thought about doing that. If we had found more stuff, we would have done that.
Yeah.
Because we could have done checked baggage. It would have cost more, but we actually picked up a backpack for my son, a Mario backpack at a thrift store while we were in Chicago, and nice. My wife used that as her carry-on instead of her purse.
Nice.
As her personal bag or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Purse inside that and threw some more stuff inside.
Right, yeah. Melissa does that kind of stuff too. Yeah.
So she was walking around the airport with a Mario backpack on.
Well, I meant she puts her purse in a bigger bag and then uses that as her.
Yeah. Cynthia walked around with a Mario backpack.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our last noteworthy pickup purchase deal or sale. We're starting off with Chris. Sorry.
The last noteworthy one, I went to the swap meet this previous Monday before we recorded, and didn't really go with much money and didn't really have very much expectations. But I found a working Atari 5200, the first generation, the one that has that weird hookup where the AC adapter and the RF cable go through the same cable. And it's no joke, man. You actually will see a spark when you plug it in. If you already have the power plugged in to your outlet and then plug it into that little box, it makes this little spark, man. It's unnerving. I saw that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And anyways, it worked, but of course the controllers didn't. But I wasn't surprised. But yeah. And I picked up a couple little trinkets there. I also got a Intellivision 2, which I do plan on selling. And some other, iPod, a couple of little things. I did get some more manuals, so that was kind of cool. Trying to knock off more. And I got 4 pretty uncommon Atari games. I wouldn't call them rare, but, according to the app, one of them's 10 out of 12. But I think that's a little inflated. But I was able to snipe a pretty cheap lot off of eBay. The guy just had he had it for like 75 or best offer, and even at 75, it was actually a really good deal. And I know some people think that's crazy to pay for an Atari game. I totally understand that, but when you get into rarity and stuff like that, it is what it is if you want to collect kind of more serious for it. But I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to pay that. So I hit him with 45, and he took it. I was like,
Nice.
right on.
And that was a lot of games, and there was one in there you really wanted?
No, there's 4, and I wanted all 4. Like, I'm not
Nice.
saying all 4 are like great games to play. I mean, I would say they're
we know
good
collect
games.
versus play are different, right?
Absolutely. So anyway, yeah. So I did that. I also got a Bubble Bobble 2 manual. That was the manual I mentioned, which that's pretty rare manuals. I know some manuals are considered rarer than others, even though the games are flipped. I don't know why that is. I guess maybe people were more apt to throw the manual away with one game over another game. But anyways, this has got to be like at least a top 10 rare manual. So I picked that up for $25, which,
Oh, wow.
I mean, it should have been at least $100. So usually the rule of thumb with real rare stuff is like whatever the cart is. Typically the manual's about half the value. It kind of holds for the box. Not always, but that's usually a negotiating starting point for people who are selling. And yeah, so that was that. And then I also got I got a couple other things. I'll talk about those later on when I'm talking about other things. But I grabbed a couple other things, but it's going to tie into something I'm going to talk about later.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Eric?
Yeah, well, I don't do as much thrifting as I used to, so my big thing in the last couple of weeks has been trying to take advantage as much as possible of my Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked before it expires. It expires at the end of this week, so it'll actually have expired by the time this comes out. So it expires on September 9th, and I have to take advantage of that. So Best Buy's actually been doing some pretty good sales, so they've been helping me out a little bit, and I've been pre-ordering stuff, which I don't normally pre-order a lot. I sent out a tweet saying, hey, what should I do with this thing? And people were suggesting pre-ordering all kinds of stuff, but these are games that I can easily pick up when they release or wait for them to even go on sale. So I'm only pre-ordering a couple of items that I know are not going to be a problem for me. I pre-ordered the Super Smash Ultimate Bundle with the controller because that gives me I actually get the 20% discount on the whole package, so it's like knocking 20% off the controller too, which normally it doesn't work. Hardware doesn't apply, but because it's bundled with the software, they knocked 20% off there too. So I pre-ordered a couple things and just been buying a bunch of stuff from retail. So nothing spectacular, just knocking out a couple of things that I've been on hold.
All right, no worries. Myself, right? That's what I'm missing. Yep. So I've sold a couple more modded original Xbox systems that I load with the arcade games and stuff like that. One was Canadian Retro, he mentioned in his video, and then I also basically traded one with James RetroPixel. I actually gave him a Crystal Xbox modded when he was doing the stream, and we played on that for the stream. And then he gave me 2 broken original Xboxes he had, a Crystal and a standard black one that I'm going to try and mod and fix and stuff like that. And then I also sold, I think, 2 more on Kijiji as well. So that's really helped out the gaming budget. Cause I sell them for like $100 each.
Now, is there any difference of the boards? Could you just switch the cases, or would
There
somebody know?
isn't a difference in the boards as long as you have the same version board. So there's version 1.0 all the way up to 1.6 for the original Xboxes. And 1.6 is what the crystals are. So as long as you have another 1.6, there's no difference in the internals.
Okay. Well, that's
now,
good
the
to know.
controllers' internals are different. They have a different colored circuit board. But instead of having a green circuit board, they have a white circuit board. But the console itself is not, especially because there's those heat shields covering everything up anyway. Yeah. So I probably will, but I have enough crystals here that I can probably get working one out of it. For his, now he did say his his hard drive on his crystal died. He's pretty sure. I have to start it up and look up the error still because I'm keeping the harder systems to fix until last. I'm modding all the ones that are easier right up front. So his will probably be later, but he said the hard drive died, which means it's completely a write-off because the motherboard and the hard drive had to match. There is supposed to be a way to read that code off the chip, but I don't have the means to do that, and I don't really feel like looking into it. It might be maybe later, or you can also add a mod chip to the system, and then the mod chip can bypass the hard drive check. But
you seem to come across a lot of those crystal ones. Were they prevalent in Canada or something?
They're exclusive to Canada.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
So they're only released in Canada, but I do come across a lot. Like I have 5 sitting here now. No, 2, 4. Yeah, 5 sitting here now, and I've sold off 3, I think.
Now, when you sell them, is it mostly local sales? You don't do any eBay with it?
No, I haven't done an eBay just because shipping would be kind of ridiculous because those things are so heavy.
Now, but what are the rates? Have you ever checked the rates? Because some people, I mean, it seems like that'd be a desired piece for an American collector to get.
It's true.
They might pay the freight, and they might not care.
It's possible. I've never done it. I don't even ship to the U.S. for everything else I sell either, though, right?
Well, that I understand, but you could open up like the global shipping program for that one.
We don't have a global shipping program in Canada. You cannot.
Oh, you guys suck.
Yeah. So I'd have to ship to the U.S., which there is partnerships between Canada Post and U.S. Post, U.S. Postal Service, but it still would be ridiculously expensive. Now, if someone wants to get it, it probably would be a better price. Like I'd probably get more money out of it if I did do that. But I just worry about the hassle. And what if the hard drive is damaged in shipping? The thing gets screwed up, it doesn't boot when it gets there, and then I got a return on my hands. And then I got to pay return shipping.
Sure. And then you're going to eat the other shipping. Yeah, I could see where the risk probably wouldn't be worth it.
The only way I'd do that is if I insured it, right? Then
I would definitely. That'd be something I would say. You definitely want to insure it for way over what its value is.
I won't even ship to the U.S. unless it's insured.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You got to watch out for scam. Anytime I ship out of the country, unless it's through the global shipping program, I'm always like on high alert for scams. You know.
Yeah, it's worth looking into. I probably should, but especially to the U.S. The other thing I could do is just bring a couple down to the U.S. and hook up people. If I had drove to Chicago, I probably would have got as many as I could working and brought them down. It's just I took an airplane to Chicago, right? So it's not reasonable to put them in luggage and stuff. Our luggage is already full too. Yeah. I could have also hooked up with Bill ahead of time and had him bring them down for me because he brought one down for Musty. And I could have easily had at least 3 working ones.
So if you were to get in a car and go across the border with, let's say, half a dozen of them in your car, you think they would give you any hassle? Or
I'm not sure what they would say. They would probably ask what the hell they're for. But as long as I say they're gifts for friends, I don't think they'd care, right?
Going to a gaming convention, you want to hook them all up and have what do they call it, LAN? Or
yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Especially if you had Steel Battalion controllers to go with them.
Yeah.
That massive, huge controller.
I know, I want that, and I don't even care about it. I just want it.
Just to have it? Yeah.
I just want it. I
kind of want to try it one time, but I've heard it's a pretty complicated game.
Yeah, it is bad, because, I mean, it has like an eject button that, I mean, it looks like you're really in it. Like, you have to pick up the little latch, like a little
it swaps a few times.
And then hit the eject, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep, that's Musty's specialty, right?
Yeah.
He's got 1.5 of those, I think, still, unless he parted out the other one or sold off the parts he had left. So the other thing I bought Sonic Mania Plus for Switch. I'd been looking at it and thought about getting it. My son's been bugging me to play some Sonic. His cousin's obsessed with Sonic lately. So I had them playing on the Sonic Mega Collection Plus, and they really enjoyed that. So I thought I'd pick it up, plus all the Xbox sales I've been doing lately. I thought $30 or $40 for it. And then I had a coupon as well, $3 off any new game. So combine all those things together, why not? We still haven't played it yet. It's still sealed. Oh no, it's not sealed. I opened it and put it in my case, but haven't played it yet. Yeah. Okay.
The value.
Exactly. So what are you selling as our next section? Tell us about something you have on eBay, Kijiji, for sale, next swap, considering to sell soon, anything like that. Starting off with Eric.
Yeah, so we, Melissa and I just had a garage sale about a month or so ago, and there's a bunch of stuff that we were going through thinking about getting rid of, and deciding, you know what, maybe this stuff belongs on eBay. So I haven't taken the plunge yet. Now, I've sold stuff on eBay in the past. I actually looked at my spreadsheet, and it was 2 years ago. It was September of 2016 was the last time I sold. And I've only ever done auctions, and I've only ever done mostly video game stuff. So we're actually looking at selling a bunch of toys. I bought that Millennium Falcon Lego set, so I told Melissa I'd sell off my old Legos. And I got to jump back in on eBay and figure out. I think I'm going to do some buy it now, so I want to figure that out. Now, I've always done auctions so I know exactly when they end, so I know that I can deal with the shipping. That I can spend the day dealing with the items, shipping them out. So I've never done buy it now, and so I'm curious.
One thing to say on that is when you take the item, take your photos, and list it, you're going to need to figure out what the dimensions of the box are anyway. The best thing to do is to pack it up then.
Yep.
Put it in a box after you've got your photos taken. Get your dimensions and your weight to put into the item, especially if you live in the U.S., because your shipping can be calculated a lot easier, I guess, as far as I understand. And in Canada, our shipping's standard across the whole country, so it doesn't really matter what it is. It's always the same price. But with you guys, if you put the info of the dimensions of the box and the weight of the box into your item listing and use calculated shipping, every person will see what the exact shipping cost is to them.
So I was going to ask about that. I mean, do you guys do calculated shipping for buy it now?
For
I mean,
sure.
eBay's pushing this whole free shipping thing.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I've talked about this before. I mean, there are some circumstances where free shipping is the optimal way. Because I mean, if the price of the game is $20 and you know it's only going to cost you $3.50 to ship, and most of the people are selling it at that rate, that's like the going price, then it doesn't hurt to follow the leader. But with random items, I always just charge shipping. I'll just adjust the price. And always do calculated, because if you do it like everybody has the same shipping, I mean, there's some areas of the country where, for whatever reason, it costs more to ship to. And I'm not talking like Alaska. I'm talking like some place in Florida one time. They were trying to charge me like $65 or something. And I was like, what? Like, crazy. So definitely want to use the calculated feature.
Okay.
And then that way, if you box it and weigh it ahead of time, box it, measure it, weigh it, put that into your ad, you don't need to worry about that at the time that it sells. All you need to do is run to the post office and you're done.
So you don't have a problem with, I used to wait to ship things up in case people wanted to do combined items or something like that.
Well, then you could just rebox it then.
That's possible. Okay. I think most of your sales are not going to be combined, though.
Yeah, they're not. That's true.
I mean, if you're really concerned about that, then just don't tape the box.
Yeah, that's true too.
Don't tape it yet. You can just not tape it. A lot of times when I do tape it, maybe I'll jot a little information on the side what it is, and then maybe when I sell it, I'll just mark it out so nobody looks at the box. Or I might come up with a code, like I know I have a Nintendo game, so I might type NIN or something like that.
The other thing is,
right on the side of the box.
You also have, by default, 2 business days to ship it out, right?
Yep. Well, it's
actually
time
it sells,
3, right? Isn't it 3? But
the default for a new listing should be 2, but you can have it up to 3 without eBay having any concern with it. Right. If you go 4 or more, then it puts a notice on the listing saying that their handling time is long.
Right.
Like your handling time is long.
Yeah,
so
they're really
I've changed all mine to 3.
Yeah, they really pushed the 2 days, and like he's saying, it's not like, okay, I sold it today, now today's one day, tomorrow's the next day. It's 24 hours from that sale. Weekends don't count.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they buy it on a Friday night, you ship it out Monday morning, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys seal up your boxes right away? You don't put the invoice or a little note in each box?
I put a note in each box, but not an invoice specific to that item. But the note I put in each box is just saying, I think I've read it before, but it's like, thanks for your purchase. Once you confirm that the item works as you expect, please leave feedback. Thanks.
Okay.
And see,
that's
where
all
I don't even do
generic.
Yeah, I don't even do that. I just message them right after the sale. Usually it's instantly because I'm sitting there not doing anything. Sale happens, and my phone auto completes everything I'm writing anyways. So as soon as I start to write "thank you for your purchase," it pretty much types the rest of the message for me. I send it to them, and if they don't ask for an invoice, I don't give them an invoice because their invoice is already electronically there. They already have an invoice through eBay. I'm saving ink. That stuff will add up. If I used the invoice for everything I sold out, I'd be buying triple the ink. And I'm not going to do that unless they ask. If they ask, I'll do it. And and I've only had one person ever ask for an invoice, so.
Wow. So you do all this through the eBay app on your phone? Like, you get a notification when the buy it now happens?
Yeah,
Yep.
so you get a little cha-ching sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that would be necessary, right? Because I'm not going to log into eBay every day or whatever. So
No.
I'm hoping the app will just notify you and say you got a sale.
You'll get two notifications. You'll get one from eBay and you'll get one from PayPal. But the PayPal one will kick in when you're getting instant funds. But it might even do it when you're not. But definitely when you get instant funds, I always get two notifications and I'll hear an email noise. So I'm actually getting three notifications every time somebody buys something from me.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll be there, and you don't have to log in. I mean, you can even check your eBay once a day at the end of the day. If you're concerned with maybe not getting it, just go click on that little bell. It'll tell you what you've sold.
Okay.
I'm
just imagining if I put a bunch of items on Buy It Now, right? It's spread out in time, and I might even forget something's up there, right? And then not notice a sale happened, and I'm 2 weeks later before I realize something went on.
I don't think that will happen. You seem like a pretty organized dude.
The only time I noticed something, only time I've come close to that was I actually rebooted my phone for an update, and the eBay notification disappears after you update.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, after you reboot. The app just doesn't repop it. So that's the only time I've had a problem. But usually when I get the email, I mark a star in Gmail on that email, which keeps it at the top. And then on top of that, I have the app notification as well that I leave there until I ship it.
Yeah, all right.
So back to the little note in the package. So out of my last 12 sales, which is just what one page shows here, 9 of them have feedback. And 2 of those probably haven't reached their destination yet. One of them definitely hasn't. The other one's letter mail, so I can't tell. But basically, almost 100% feedback because of adding those notes, I think.
And you know what? That was one point I was going to agree with you on. I think it does make it feel more personal when you add a note. I'll just be honest. I just don't want to waste the ink. I'm more electronic, and at this point where my feedback is, I'm not too concerned about it anymore. Mm-hmm. It's really about building feedback. When you don't have any or you're really low, you really want to. I mean, I'm at 7, almost 800 feedback, and I mean, that's nothing compared to big sellers, but as a buyer, if I saw somebody with 800 perfect feedback, that would be enough for me. I wouldn't think twice about it, and I don't think anyone ever has. I don't think I've lost any sales because of my feedback. Yeah. I think when you're early on, especially like less than 100, getting to 100 felt like a real big monumental occasion. Also, keep in mind, your purchases go into that number. Granted, if they click on it, and they filter out just for sales, they'll see how many, but a lot of people are lazy. They don't do that. They just see the number next to it. I know, but I'm talking the majority, I bet you they don't.
Yeah.
If I'm concerned about the sale, I will, but...
I'm pretty sure I had more than 200 feedback before I started selling.
Right. And that's a good number to have, too, because like right off the bat, they see it. The worst number to have is 0. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been using eBay for almost 20 years, so I'm at 2. I'm looking it up right now. I'm pretty sure I'm at over 250 positive feedback.
I'm at 15 years.
And you know the great thing about buying stuff is they can't leave you negative feedback, so it's either positive or nothing.
Oh no, I'm only at 165. Sorry. But okay.
Talked about handling time. Options versus buy it now. You kind of already talked about that, but what about you, Eric? It was just the time, right? That was it. Sorry, yeah. It was the time time you have to ship it out, basically.
Yeah, but I think you guys have convinced me. You know, as long as I get the notifications when a buy it now happens, and if I do as you say and prepackaged stuff, then I'm not too concerned about it. And I like the idea of kind of setting a price and then
Yeah.
I used to like to let the market set the price, but for some of these items, so I don't know if I mentioned, I'm selling a bunch of old toys that were mine that my folks saved. My mom saved some of the better toys, and so we didn't want to sell these at a garage sale. I think some of them are vintage, so I might just set the price and let them sit up there, and if they don't sell, I'll lower the price, or if I don't care, I'll leave the price alone.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the advice I'd give. Leave it up. If it doesn't bother you, just leave it there. And if you're more motivated, just wait till it expires and adjust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I like using the
about the
30-day expiration. So it expires every 30 days. That way, in 30 days later, it'll be a new listing again. It pops it.
Yeah.
It changes it and knocks it up to the top of the list. I mean, you could do a shorter one. You can do 7, or I forget the middle one, but I would definitely go 30.
I don't remember either.
What are the fee structures for doing buy it nows and relisting?
So as long as you're within your 50, like you don't do an auto relist, you do it manually, that's free to do it auto. As long as you haven't gone over your 50 listings per month.
Now, I think you're talking about what percentage does eBay take?
Both. I
Okay.
wanted to know what it costs. What does it cost to do a relist? I'm sorry, Derek, I'm confused. Did you say auto relistings are free or manual?
No, manual is free. Auto relistings cost money, right? Chris, you
No, I think they only cost if you go over your cap. You should probably have.
Oh,
20
that's what it was.
You
You're
should
right.
probably have 20 free listings at your level. You probably have 20 free listings a month. So,
Okay.
but if let's say you start at the beginning of the month and you set it for 30 days, that's only going to be one listing for that whole month. I mean, well, it's 30 days, so if there's 31 days, it'll relist on the 31st or however it'll break down.
And you can set them to never end. So
You can do that. The problem with never end to me is it'll make I don't know, it has the appearance of looking stale to me. Because then they look at it and like, this item's been up for 2 years. That looks stale. I don't want anybody seeing that about my item.
Yeah.
It's easy to see how long it's been listed for, right? All you see is the expiration date.
I think it shows a listing date.
Oh, expiration date. Yeah, I don't even remember.
Well, either way,
I think
I still like the
bit.
fact that it pops it back up to the beginning. Like, some people like to look under the feature of, like, newest listings. So in 30 days, you're going to go through 2 cycles. You're going to have your first newest listing, well, 3 cycles, actually. Then you're going to have the ending soon listing that will kick in when people look for ending soon items. When your thing is about to end, that's another listing. And then when it relists, you're back into new listings again.
Okay.
And buy it now. Some people filter out just to look at buy it now. I know I do when I'm looking for games. Sometimes I'll actually look for buy it now. Sometimes people buy it now will also have a best offer, and that's usually what I try to target when I hit my lowball offers. I'll go to people like that because they seem like they're more eager to sell.
I was
So
going to say about buy it, or best offer is also an option for Eric. When he has something that he maybe wants to get rid of sooner than later, you set your price with a buy it now, but you can enable best offer so people can send you offers. And with best offer, you can also set it to automatically reject ones that are too low and let you manually review ones that are higher than a certain amount, or auto accept ones that are higher than a certain amount too.
Yeah.
Takes some of the
I'm
overhead
familiar
off
with
you.
the auto.
Yeah.
I've
But some
had
people like
several.
the game, right? The back and forth.
right.
Too.
Well, sometimes you want to negotiate a little bit, but you got to make sure you put that number at a negotiating mark. If you're selling something for $50 and you're allowing $10 offers to even come your way, you're wasting your time. If I'm selling it for 50, I probably wouldn't accept nothing less than 30, or at least an opening offer. And then you can counter back and forth, and you might end up at 40 or something like that.
You used to get 2 counter offers, and now they've increased it to 3. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's 4. Yeah, it's 4 now. Also, about the fees,
I was going to say about that too.
eBay will take 10%, and PayPal takes about 2.5%. It might be slightly above 2.5%.
I've got the calculations right here.
Okay, what is it?
So eBay takes the number times 0.029, so 29%, and then they add 30 cents. For some reason,
That's
they do it 30
PayPal.
cents flat. Yeah, that's eBay. Sorry, that's eBay first.
Oh
no, sorry. You're right. That's
that's-
PayPal. My mistake. I had the wrong field highlighted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
And
I
then
know
eBay
PayPal's
does
got a flat
10% off each shipping and sale price.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
they
a combined
changed
total.
that. Yeah.
Well, but people used to work the system and
Yeah.
add all kinds of handling fees and try to pump up that so they didn't have to pay fees. I totally understand why eBay did that.
Yeah,
It
they
makes
had
sense.
to. Yeah. So yeah, eBay's a flat 10. Okay, so even for buy it now, it's a flat 10% across the board.
But I think I think it lowers a little bit for auctions, and sometimes you'll even get free fees. They'll send you offers, but
yeah,
you're rolling the dice with an auction. If you're confident that your item's going to sell at a price, that there's a lot of consistent ending auctions that sold for a certain range, it's actually a better strategy. But I don't know. I'm a chicken.
I'm a chicken too.
I've gotten burned with, and I've seen people who get burned. It's like, look, every single one of these went for, some price, and for some reason one of them went for 70% of that. And it's like, that would be me. I'd be that guy.
Yeah, that would suck.
Get it only going up because it's a bad time of day.
So also, just for people in Canada to know, and maybe this applies to the U.S. if people buy from Canada, I don't know. But if you're in Canada selling and someone in the U.S. buys it from you, PayPal increases their fee from 29% to 37 instead, plus the 30 cent.
Are you? I don't. 29%.
Sorry, 2.9.
I think
I'm
it's 2.9. Yeah,
2.9.
Right.
I'm not calculating the digit right. I'm looking at it in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, when you said that earlier, I wasn't going to
0.02.
argue with you, but I was like,
Yeah,
29% sounds
totally
extremely high.
2.9% increases to 3.7 if it's an international transaction.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah, I knew it used to be like 2.5, but I knew it was slightly above because I've been, you could see the fee, and it's like, that's not really 2.5, but it's not 3 either. So
yeah, exactly. I had a fun time trying to calculate that the first time. It was hard to find a site on PayPal that actually told you how much it was.
Really?
There was one place I found it buried.
Yeah.
But if you take it a step further, it's also covering your free withdrawal fee. They're not charging you anything to transfer the money to your bank. So if that makes you feel any better, that 2.9% is also covering that other transaction as well.
I actually never transferred money to my bank account with it. I actually don't have my bank account in my PayPal at all. I figured that's safer. But I think there was a time where they actually required it in order to create a PayPal account.
You become verified, and it actually I see the perks, but I can understand I was resistant at first, but you know what? I was like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all I've done is try and buy things using the PayPal money, right?
That's typically
sure,
what I do,
right. But if you actually want to pull the money out, you got to have a place for it to go, and they won't. I think there was a time you can actually charge it back to a credit card, but they don't allow that no more, I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha. Credit card companies probably didn't like them giving out credit.
They probably didn't like that at all.
Yeah. Okay. So that was everything, right?
Yeah, I think we've taken enough time on me. Nice stuff, yeah.
Well, you have printing shipping labels too. Ask Chris about this shit.
Well, I don't know what the question is. I typically, when I sell stuff, I do the shipping through eBay. It gives you a slight discount through the U.S. Postal Service. It actually saved my skin one time where somebody argued that the item didn't arrive, and I'm like, well, here's the tracking number. It says it's on your porch.
Right.
And so I called eBay, and Chris, I know you've talked about this. I somehow got the number, and I'm like, what's the deal? This is my first time somebody's tried this. And she's like, yeah, you printed the label through eBay, and I see the tracking, and it says it's arrived, so you're fine. You're not going to lose your money. So I'm like, okay, thanks. And I didn't. I did. But I guess I was asked, that was 2 years ago or more. So what do you guys think about printing shipping labels through eBay? I do it. I like the protections it offers. Okay.
That's all I do, unless I have that perfect storm where I run out of ink and I don't have the time to go to the store to get more ink or something. And then, you're going to pay more. It's just the way it is. You go to the post office, something that will cost me like $2 and I don't know what, 68 cents to print here will cost me like $4 at the post office. So it's always better to print it at home. Get a scale. If you don't have one, get one. You don't have to get something really fancy. I mean, you can even use a bathroom scale on heavier items, but, the smaller items, you want to get something that'll show you your ounces.
Yeah, I've got one. Yeah.
And the other benefit to shipping through eBay is up to a pound, it counts as first class shipping. But when you go to the post office, it only goes up to 13 ounces.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
yep. Anything over 13 ounces at the post office will go into priority mail, and it makes a big difference. Sometimes it could be $6-7 difference.
Yeah.
So it's always better to ship to print your own labels. Always. I mean, the only time I have, like I said, if I can't do it for some reason, then I will. But If I could print them at home, even when I'm doing deals with friends, a lot of times if money's exchanged, or I'll have them like, hey, send me $1 in PayPal and I'll send you back $1 or whatever, and then I could print a label, and going through PayPal, you can even get a discount, even like just doing deals. It's still cheaper than the post office.
Is that right?
Here in Canada, I haven't done any of that. I haven't tried printing and shipping labels through eBay. I don't know if they have discounts or not. I should try it one of these days. I just have not experimented with it. Now, I do know Canada Post has a small business account you can sign up for at no cost. I still need to do that and have not yet. But I know Bill and Josh Creepleet both have, and they both swear by it. You save a few cents or whatever off each shipment. So I really need to do it. I just haven't yet. Yeah.
Cool.
Even just buying my stamps in bulk, I should be doing, but I haven't. Partly because I kind of want a receipt for every transaction that I have, even just so that I have the date that I shipped it out on a receipt. I don't know. It's my own problem. I need to figure out a better way to do. And then Eric also had here PayPal versus eBay seller protection.
Yeah, well, that's a big. Yeah, I don't know if you want to get into that.
Why not?
I don't know how it works. I mean, I said I had the one experience where I ended up calling eBay, but Bill from STC Pod, he's got me nervous that PayPal will then come along and just override whatever eBay does. So, how do these two? I mean, I know they're tightly coupled. So, how does the seller protection work? eBay versus PayPal, who has precedence? How does all of that?
I don't think there's any precedence because I think it's kind of whoever they go through. I actually am curious what would happen if they went through both at the same time. I don't think there's anything stopping them from doing both.
I've had that happen, and I did end up losing through PayPal, but they had a valid reason. So, and it was my fault. I mean, I didn't want to accept the guy's return, and he sent it to me. And I already had it, and it was an invalid return. He was claiming it didn't work. I knew it worked. I tested it. I retested it. I had him send me pictures of the package. There was no visible damage. The thing was insulated. There was no way it got damaged in shipping by what he sent me. And so I didn't want. I told him, I was like, I'm not going to accept the return. He never even did an official return. He just sent it to me. Now, when I went to the post office, there was this big box. And I didn't even think about it. I don't know why I didn't think about it because I knew I didn't buy anything, but it had my name on it. So I took it home. And a few days later, I didn't even open it. I was busy. I was going out of town or something. A few days later, I get the money pulled out of my PayPal. And I'm like, what the hell? And so he did a claim through PayPal. And what it really boiled down to is, and what they said is like, after that, I had no recourse. It's like, you can't have the money and the item. And I was well. I was like, what, that makes sense. I mean, what I should have did is refuse the package and sent it back had I thought about it. But eBay would have totally covered me. But again, I had both. So, and the thing is, I relisted it. It sold. It was just fine. The other guy got it. I knew the guy was lying because the next people paid the exact same price, got it, and everything was fine. So
it was buyer's remorse.
Absolutely.
So it shouldn't have been a valid return. Basically.
No, but my point is if you cover yourself. Most people aren't trying to send you back things just willy-nilly. Usually, if you're selling something, they usually want it. I mean, there are buyer's remorse situations. You can usually get them to tell you that. They won't say the words, but there are ways to kind of get it out of them. And, if they say it didn't fit the description, ask them how. Describe how it didn't fit the description. Send me pictures. Keep the communication, though. You don't have to be hostile about it.
Yeah, communication within eBay.
Right, all in eBay. If they try to say call me, I have called people at times, but only in situations where I knew I had messed up. Like I had sent the guy the wrong model, and it was my fault. And he said, "Hey, call me. Let's talk about this." So I called him right away.
In that case, it's your fault, so you just want to get it fixed and
just
want to
fix it. Absolutely. And you know what? It worked out perfectly. He ended up just saying, "You know what? I'm going to keep the model anyways," and he ended up buying 2 more from me when we were on the phone. So. I was just like, but I mean,
you're a pro.
Well, it worked out,
Yeah, okay.
He was a really nice guy, and I think he understood I was being sincere about it, and I was actually kind of embarrassed about it because usually I don't make those kind of errors, sure. And I was just like, and I was going to give him the full refund. I was even going to let him just keep the model. I just didn't even want to deal with it. I was just like, just go ahead and keep it. He goes, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to keep this. And I was looking through your ads, and what do you think about this? I was like, tell you what, I'll give you a package deal. Tell me what you want. So
Nice.
worked them together, sent it out that day. He gave me great feedback on all of them. He's a really nice guy. But mistakes happen. Usually that's the only time I would ever worry about that is if, you've messed up. I think, there's no reason not to be, cautious about selling on eBay. But, I mean, if you do everything right, you make sure your tracking numbers are loaded. That's another positive about doing it through the eBay app because it uploads to both eBay and PayPal. So you don't have to manually do that.
Yeah.
If you buy the shipping at the post office, not only do you have to put it in the eBay app, you also have to go to PayPal and put it into PayPal because they're two different people now. They used to be connected.
Yeah, I didn't realize you even had to put it in PayPal until I was reading that.
You do.
On the thing we were actually just looking up, I think.
Yep. You have to do it in both. And the reason is if you want your money released, if you're not getting instant payment, you definitely want your money to be released as soon as possible. So you want to make sure, and also let's say, this kind of goes into Julian's question, so I'll touch on it a little bit. If you want to get your money quicker, right? So you've done what I said. You put tracking in both. Now you're following the tracking yourself. You know it's going to get there 3 to 4 days, most likely. And now that it's got there, they typically will give the buyer 3 days after. So if you keep on top of that, and then you contact PayPal directly, call them, say, hey, they got it's been 3 days. They'll release the money. They won't make you wait. They won't make you wait the 21 days. So the 21 days are just people who just don't. They just send it and don't. They're not very proactive. You can get that shortened substantially.
Just so you know, I actually only added the tracking to eBay, and I go to PayPal to the transaction, and it has the tracking number there.
Yeah, I know, but it
So
doesn't.
there must be some connection. Yeah,
it's not a given. It'll do it every time, though. I'm just saying, if I'm not buying through eBay, or buying the shipping label through eBay, I would definitely make sure. I would check it every time.
I'm glad it did on this one, but I need to watch that from now on.
Yeah. Because, all it is one little glitch and it's not going to go through. But if you buy it through eBay for whatever reason, it's always good. I've never had an issue printing my own labels.
All right. Well, I'm definitely feeling better about jumping back in here. So
Success.
Good stuff. Yeah. Hey, look, man, we got a bunch of stuff, and I got to pay off that Millennium Falcon, and Melissa's holding all my PRGE money hostage until I make some sales. So
Stuff's listed.
Yeah, I got to get
see everything you're selling.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Lego.
I got some old space Lego sets. So hopefully, and actually, if I can, I'd touch on that. I know you guys do a lot of thrifting, and the stuff that you have, you're not emotionally attached to, or you didn't pay a lot for, but these are like 30-year-old Lego sets that I think they're worth something. And if somebody screws me, I'm out, right? I mean, there's no, these are my personal items. So, well, I don't know what I'm saying. How do you deal with that?
There's an emotional thing. I can understand that, but take really good pictures, and also keep in mind if they can't have the money and the item, just like you can't have the money and the item. So they're not getting their money back unless you get your item back. So just because they open a return and claim they sent it, it also has to be proven through tracking as well that you received it. You might not have the money, but they don't either until the complete transaction. And you get an opportunity to inspect the item and protest. They might try to send you an empty box of Legos or take out some pieces. So if I was selling Legos, I would definitely make sure I had a picture, unless it was a sealed bag, of every Lego. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like put it on a white back, like a board or something.
Yeah, I intend to
make sure you get a good shot of every one so they can easily be counted in the picture.
Yeah.
Take a picture of every angle. You get 12 pictures, use them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What does happen if they send you back the wrong, they send you back a bunch of rocks?
Then you get the money and they don't.
Well, how do you how do you prove that to PayPal? Because
PayPal wouldn't be my concern in that situation. It'd be eBay, and eBay will protect you. Even if PayPal tries to freeze the money up, eBay will still give you the money back.
Okay.
That's the whole point of buyers or sellers protection and buyers protection. Same thing if you sent them a box of rocks.
Yeah.
They're going to get their money back. Okay. So I'm pretty confident in the or the seller's protection. I feel very good about it. I've never had a negative experience when I've called. Like I've said before, I'm undefeated. Anytime people try crap with me, I get them on the phone. I talk it through,
Yeah, Yeah,
Just know what you're going to say. Get the right operator. If you don't feel like things are going good, hang up, call, get another one.
Get another one. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's true in a lot of areas. All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm feeling a lot better about it. So hopefully, I'll have some stories.
I can't speak on the returns. I've never had one. Knock on
wood
somewhere.
Yeah. No kidding. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, next is me. So I'm still working on selling PS3 games that I got in that big lot a while ago. So I got some Vita games to sell, stuff slowly selling on eBay. I also need to get off my ass and list some more stuff. For example, I have a original Xbox Monster component cable that sells for like $80 that I need to get listed. I've already got the pictures taken. I just need to actually do it. And I've still got this freaking little guy sitting here that I haven't listed because I'm lazy. I've even copied someone else's ad already. Sorry, the Furby. I've copied someone else's ad and just haven't put the pictures in. For that, I also want video of it working too. So that's another thing. Just because it's so.
That's smart though.
Depends on working.
Yeah.
I should probably also ship it without batteries in it. I just thought of that now. I was going to ship it with batteries because I think Bill said that he didn't trust the batteries the person used. But I'm thinking I should ship it without the batteries in it, but maybe still inside.
I can see putting them in the box, but in it,
yeah.
It does. There's a slight chance they can explode.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Cabin pressure or whatever, and then if it destroys it,
whatever. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a slight chance. I usually never send batteries, but that's not a bad point by Bill. I mean, their batteries might be bad. That's actually an excellent point. I mean, if you're going to give up the batteries anyways and you don't care, then go ahead.
Yeah, I might just, because they're in it and I know they're working, so why not?
Have you guys shipped batteries before? I thought you had to have special labels.
Well, you just
for
don't talk
lithium
about it.
batteries, I think. It also depends if it's leaving the country or not. I don't plan on shipping it outside the country.
I like Chris's suggestion.
You just don't talk about it.
You just
don't talk about it. You just You just do it.
I was just curious if you guys have ever done it. I was nervous about it. I mean, I'm getting PlayStation controllers in the mail, and they got labels on them saying, I don't know what, hazardous material.
PS3
because it has a lithium battery.
Yeah, they have a lithium battery.
Who does?
The controllers do.
Yeah, I just ordered a PS4 controller and it had some label on the box about.
Right, but you know how much
it's on an airplane.
I've sold probably a dozen PS3 controllers and maybe a half a dozen PS4 controllers, and I never put any warning on it. I just sent it.
Okay. Cool.
This is another thing I have to list. I bought it at a thrift store for $10, and I think it was actually discounted too. I can't remember now. Can't remember if that was discounted. I have the receipt somewhere in the bag here. But what it is a Bosch under counter tankless water heater.
Cool.
And it's supposed to sell for like $150, something like that. So I got to get that listed. It would be nice to test it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to test it because it needs to be wired into 110 electrical and then run water through it, and then it's no longer brand new, right?
Yeah, I would. If it's brand new, that's how you sell it.
Yeah, it's brand new. They haven't even been installed. All the mounting hardware is still in the bags, like little baggies and stuff, not Ziploc, like sealed baggies. So should be able to sell it as like new other because it's been opened.
Yeah, and you can. And a lot of times when I have that situation, I'll put box was open to verify contents.
Yeah,
I'll add that into the description just to kind of let it be known. Listen, I did you a favor. I made sure the contents were in there. That's the only reason this box was opened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just one of the many things I have to get listed and haven't yet. All right, Chris, how about you? Stuff you're selling?
No, I don't really have a lot because I'm kind of like you. I haven't listed this month, but next month is going to be my heavy month of listing for sure. But right now, I got a broken iPod lot. They're not really broken, but, they all have dead batteries, and they're not real premium ones. They're mostly like nanos and shuffles, and basically this lot right here.
Okay.
So I just been letting them pile up, and I'll probably put it up for maybe like $50, or I don't know. I'll see what the market's bearing, but for that amount, I would imagine I can at least get $50, $60 for that and shipping. I got that in television too that I mentioned. That should get me about probably $45 total, with the shipping cost. If I could test it, I bet you, I might just sell it as, I don't know. I might roll the dice because the thing is worth like $80 working. That's the crazy thing is, but like for parts, I've actually, well, you know what? I gave myself a low estimate. I did see some people sending out untested for like $50. I don't know. I know I paid $5 for it, so I'm gonna kill on it no matter what I sell it for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got a Disney DVD player. You know those TVs that, some are like Ninja Turtles or SpongeBob or Mickey Mouse or the Princess one. Well, I got the one that goes with the Mickey Mouse. It's been sitting here for a while and I haven't listed it, so I need to get that listed because that's another like $60-$70 shipped. And then, and I have this clock that I had bought at a yard sale a few months ago. And it's about a $35-$40 clock that I picked up for a couple bucks. And I'm like, I had it plugged in. It works great. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I don't use it. Yeah, I got to list that. So that's kind of like the bigger ticket items that I'm looking to get listed. I do have a lot of other odds and ends. When I start digging around, I'm like, shit, I forgot all about that. So
yeah, I'm starting to make a pile of crap that I keep forgetting to list. I actually also have, my wife picked up this blouse shirt thing. I don't know what the hell. It's over there, but it's got brand new with tags on it. She picked it up at a thrift store for I think $5, maybe $10 at the most, and it sells, the tag on it says $89.99.
Ooh.
So even if she sold it for $70, that would be great. So we got to get pictures taken of that. I just don't know how to take pictures of clothing yet. We have a mannequin, like a dress form.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's got a pattern to it, and this shirt is mostly transparent. So it would look weird on it.
Maybe you put a white shirt on it first and then put it on, maybe?
Maybe.
Something like that underneath it.
I just don't want them to think the white shirt's included because this actually has 2 shirts with it.
Oh. Well, you know what? They just lay it. I mean, lay it on the bed. Lay it on a blanket.
We might just lay it out,
I mean, just lay it, flip it around, show the tag.
Oh, she also found the original ad or the original listing for it on the website for the company that makes it. So we're gonna grab those pictures and throw them on too.
Yeah.
Because they show it on a person, so that should help.
Yeah.
Nice. Need to list shit. We planned on doing that Monday this week, but we did not do it. Instead, we bought a new TV entertainment system stand for our TV, IKEA one. So I've been rewiring that together. It's already together. I bought it used. It was looks like brand new condition. There's like the odd little scuff. But I just rewiring all my consoles and putting them in the thing. Been a pain in the ass. Yeah, big pain in the ass. And then I'm debating: do I put lights in each cube? I want to put black like velvet or something like that on the back of it to block out being able to see all the cords. It's just a big pain in the butt. Yeah, I want to. I don't know if I'm going to for sure. I probably will.
Velvet, huh? Who are you, George Costanza?
I don't know. Like some kind of more, what's that material? Like felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Black felt.
Yeah.
Good at dissipating light. So put some of that in the back. Put some slits up it for the cords to go through, and should be good. Yeah. So I got all my consoles already in there and mostly wired. It's just remembering what else I have to do and making everything fit nicely.
Shelfcast.
I know, right?
We got to do it, man. It's the time of year for me too to be doing all this stuff. So, yeah, timing's coming together.
All right. So next section is Tip Corner. Any buying and selling tips you want to share? Anything you've people do that during the deal that annoys you, or where to find deals, things like that. So first tips from me. I actually stole this from the Scavenger Life podcast. I just listened to their latest episode, and they are eBay sellers full time with like 6,000 to 7,000 listings at any given time. And they said now is the time when people start shopping for Christmas gifts. Get your eBay ads up.
Yep. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. As
it's
a buyer,
great time here to start listing. And even Halloween items, if you have anything that's Halloweenish, get it up now for sure. That's true. Because I have like some vintage Halloween masks that I always kind of save for this time of year and put them up if they don't. Because I bought a big box of them, and there's already those pig ones that are still up, but I have a few other ones that I saw. Yeah, those I just keep relisting them. I paid it like 10 cents a piece for them or something. I've already sold a couple different lots of them, so like whatever, they're already paid for.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Chris, what about you?
All right, this is pretty much a tip for myself because sometimes you get caught up into the emotion of haggling, Okay, so, and it could become a pissing contest. You can interject ego, and sometimes you just have to be willing to step back and really think to yourself, are you comfortable with paying that? And if you are, sometimes it's not even worth the hassle, because, alright, I got this Beavis and Butthead thing at the swap meet. Here, I'll show it real quick.
Saw your picture.
Right, so, it's, I guess, I don't know if this is considered vintage, if 1996 is vintage now, but anyways, it's from 1996.
I think so.
It feels kind of like it is. So it's from 96. What it is you can actually use, you put batteries in it, you get any sort of old, like an analog remote or RF remote, I guess that's what they're called. Something, not like the newer remotes, the old ones that send out the little, signal.
So infrared, yeah.
Infrared, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. Infrared remote. And you push the buttons, and it'll make them. And any remote supposedly works on it, and they'll talk back to you. Now I could tell it was damaged when I got it, but even in a damaged state, it's worth about $50.
Huh.
So the guy came out. When I asked him how much he wanted, and it was pretty dirty when I grabbed it too, and he wanted $7. So I'm just like, why 7? Like, where'd you get that number at? He goes, I don't know. And
to me, that sounds like he's waiting for you to offer 5.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, it sounds like a haggling number. He goes, nope, I'm not gonna, nope, I want 7. And I was like, you really won't take 5? And he goes, nope, I won't take 5. And I knew at that moment he was serious about it. He wasn't going to take 5. And, I'm at the swap meet. So how long am I going to try to haggle for $2? Because I even asked him, is the $2 really? And, now granted, I'm not saying this like in a jerky way. I'm kind of joking with him, but I'm like, is the $2 that really that important to you? But then in my mind, I'm also thinking to myself, is the $2 really that important to you?
I've said that back to people when they've said that to me. They're like,
right.
Is $5 really that important? I don't know. Is $5 really that important to you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but, and he's just like, but he was straight. He goes, yeah, it is. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I'll pay your price. And I bought it, and I'm happy. And I even told him, I was like, it's broke. He goes, and the funny is, like, this guy's never met me, but he had me pegged. Because he's like, you're probably just going to set it on a shelf anyway. And I was like, you're right. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, whether it's broke or working, it's just going to be sitting on a shelf. You're not wrong, man. I have to give it up to you for that one. So, I guess the tip is, if you're fine with the price and you feel like the negotiation isn't going anywhere, and especially if you're in like a yard sale, swap meet situation where someone else could have walked up behind me and said, I'll pay that $7, or I might have wasted time, and then a couple of booths up, someone might have bought something I really wanted and just got there a few steps ahead of me, which I've seen that happen because I've been the one who's got ahead of people. And I've seen people come up behind me like, God damn it, I would have bought that. And then I've been on the flip side of that where I come up and they're buying it. So, I don't know. Don't waste time over $2 unless it's that important. You know what I mean? Like, if that's truly your breaking point, like a low amount, then I get it. But it wasn't mine. So, I would say,
if you had put $9 on it, you would have bought it for 7, right?
if I walked into a store and it said $7 and if even it said broken, doesn't work, $7, and it was in a store, and I knew it was a non-negotiable situation, I wouldn't have thought twice of buying it for $7. I would have just bought it. So why am I going to hassle this dude at the swap meet when he doesn't want to budge? You know what I mean? So
now I want to know what's broken about it. It doesn't function.
I tried like about 4 or 5 different remotes, and nothing would happen. And I kind of looked into the spot where the infrared thing would be, and I could tell it's been pushed down. So I think some kid probably stuck something in there and messed with it. And I tried taking it apart, and it was too much trouble. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna end up just breaking it more.
Okay.
I don't care if it says I got all the damn episodes recorded on tape anyway. So
I'm just the troubleshooter side of me wants to figure out what's wrong with it and fix it. You know what I mean?
Oh no, and I would want you to fix it. And if it didn't cost me $75 to ship it back and forth to you, I would send it.
Yeah.
I might just buy a new one if I'm going to do that. I could buy a brand new one for like $70. So.
Yeah.
So that's my tip.
Yeah.
Eric, you're next.
Yeah. That was similar to one of mine, and I brought it up or wrote it down here because it's something I learned from Chris at Game On. Actually, he reminded me of it, and it's something that I've been doing or trying to do, and that's like he was saying, you know, what are you squabbling over the $2? You have to decide what's worth it to you. And I'm going to kind of twist that a little bit and say, you know, one thing that I do is, you know, you think about which decision are you going to regret more if it goes the wrong way, or if things don't go the way you want. So for example, you know, he was helping me. We were trying to negotiate on a Sega Master System game, and the guy wasn't budgeting a lot, and we kind of talked about it at lunch. And he's like, "Well, look, you know, what is going to bother you more in the future? That you spent $5 extra on this thing, or that you walked away from it and you never saw it again, or that you did see it again and the damn thing went up, you know, 2x
Double the price." Right.
So you know, I think this is useful. I do this sometimes in life too. It's like you have a decision and you say, well, what am I going to regret more? What am I actually fighting over here in terms of this price? Is if it's a couple of bucks here, or, you know, am I getting in my own way? So I guess I'd say look at a decision from a regret standpoint. If it doesn't go the way that if a negotiation or a purchase isn't going the way that you want, you know, a month later or 24 hours later, what are you going to feel worse about, spending the extra money or walking away from something? And so, you know, we bought the game, right? We went back and we negotiated it, and I don't think he budged a lot. And we actually we got a little bit of a deal because we bundled it with something from Julian, but I gave Julian the discount. And so
that was really nice.
It's been what, 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks now, maybe 4 weeks. I don't remember what the heck I even paid for that game.
Exactly.
What I remember is that it's sitting in my desk right next to Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
And so I enjoy that a lot more. So thanks, Chris, for doing that.
No,
I want to pass that along, you know?
That's actually what I was thinking. I knew, I was like, man, he's going to regret not having it. It's such, you know, it was in, you know, I'm not saying flawless condition, but it was really nice. Yeah. It might be Joe Condish, maybe, or close to Joe Condish, but I mean, I was thinking, man, if it was something I wanted, I would have bought it. But, you know, I was like, well, I can't spend the guy's money for him, but
yeah.
You know, I was just thinking, man, I think you'll regret not having it, because then you're going to keep thinking, man, I would have had them both.
I would have had them both. Yeah. So, that's definitely something to think about, is think about it from a perspective in the future, and what are you going to regret more, which path going down. But I do want to bring up one little tiny tip, if I can, another one, and that's this thing I've noticed, and maybe it's common knowledge, but I've noticed this on Best Buy, and it might only apply to the U.S., and that's if you order stuff through BestBuy.com and you set it to shipping, you might have to toggle back and forth a couple times, but if you set it to shipping, they will sometimes say, hey, we'll knock $1 off if you do store pickup. Mm-hmm. And the last time I did it, I was buying, I think, multiple items, and they knocked $1 off each item. So maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe you don't care, but if you're heading down to Best Buy anyway and you want to save a couple bucks on something, flip it to shipping and then flip it back to store discount, and they might knock $1 or $2 off each item for you. So I've done that every now and then. You know, I'm going to be down there anyway, so might as well save a couple bucks.
Make a trip out of it.
Yeah. I got a GameStop down there. I got some, so I'll make a trip out of it and save a couple bucks and get my games right away instead of hoping they don't get crushed in the bubble mailers that Best Buy sends them out.
Yeah, and also you might get lucky and they don't stick a whole shitload of stickers on them too. But sometimes when you pick up, they will. They have been pretty good about it though. I had a situation where I went. And I noticed that, like, when I picked up the NES Classic, it did put a sticker on it, but it was a lot less obnoxious, and it didn't seem like they had pressed it really hard. So I think at least my local Best Buy is probably getting so many complaints from collectors. They're starting to ease up a little bit. Okay. But I know I've heard horror stories with Amiibos where, you know, why wouldn't you put it on the plastic and you put it on the paper?
Oh yeah.
You know, but a lot of the Nintendo products have like kind of that gloss to it, so it doesn't it comes off easy. But man, there's certain items that it would tear the artwork right off.
Yeah.
But I like picking it up too if I can. You know, sometimes I'll have them ship it to me. It just depends on if I'm going to go that way or not, because it's like 20 miles for me, which isn't a big deal. But you know, you start to factor in gas. Well, but if I'm already going that way, it's like, hey, I'll do it, you know.
Okay, yeah. It is only $1 difference, but it definitely depends. And our Best Buy isn't that far away. If it was much further, I probably wouldn't do it. But But give it a try. See if you can flip them. See if you can get them to entice you into doing store pickup for a couple of bucks.
How did you do it again?
Well, I sent it for shipping, and then when I am at the checkout, it usually will give me a little. It'll give me a little green text that says, "Hey, if you do store pickup, we'll knock $1 off your thing." And so then you just change the delivery method to store pickup, and they knock $1 off. But you might have to start it at store pickup and then change it to shipping, and then they'll say, "Oh, wait a second, if you do store pickup, we'll knock $1 off." You might have to go back and forth once or twice on it.
Okay.
And it doesn't always work.
I want to try it. Yeah.
And again, I can't speak for Canada, so
yeah.
I've had it work a couple times. And if you've already checked out and then you change it to store pickup, like after you've already done the checkout, they won't offer that.
And you're signed into your account at the time too. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I think Best Buy is one of the sites whose online is very close with the Canada and the U.S.
Okay.
Whereas most aren't. Now this one seems like reserve in store is not even available.
I can't.
It's weird.
I can tell you this much, Derek. I haven't had a lot of trouble getting it to work, so it can't be that obscure. But that said, I couldn't give you the exact instructions on how to do it either.
Okay.
I think the way that I've done it is by flipping back and forth between store pickup and shipping, and then it pops up. And it doesn't always, and maybe they're going to get rid of that. And you may have to be already doing the free shipping thing, right? I'm sure they're not going to do it if you're paying for shipping. So you need to be in a situation where you've already triggered a free shipping whatever situation, and then you can flip.
They're trying to entice you not to do it because they don't want to eat the shipping costs.
Yeah.
I just randomly tried it on Kirby Star Allies just to see if it would work. And it didn't. It just said this is not available for store pickup. I'm like, that's weird.
Oh, yeah.
But now I'm playing Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle to see. Of course, now it's got 2 of Star Allies in my cart for some reason.
Anyway, I've saved a couple bucks, probably maybe $10 on this by now. Just different items randomly, $1 here, $1 there.
All adds up.
It adds up, makes the spreadsheet numbers look a little better.
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, yeah, those are my 2 comments.
Cool. On to story time. You have a story to tell, failures, lessons learned the hard way, anything like that. Starting off with Chris.
Okay. So we had a buddy of mine, Jay, on the show a few episodes back, 3-4 episodes, whatever it was now.
Yeah.
And so let's try not to get too involved in it, but he runs a store out of his house. So it's essentially a game store within his home. It's in kind of like where you would have a dining room table. He's turned that into a game store. And he's operated for years. Of course, he's shady. He has no business license, and he thinks he's going to use clever words like private shop and all these things that somehow that's going to protect him. So for years I've been telling him, like, dude, you're operating a business within a residential neighborhood. Eventually this is going to come down on you. And he tried to counter with all these reasons why that it wouldn't. Well, it didn't kind of directly get him, but it kind of did because he's being sued. A gentleman by the name of Jose Acosta, which according to Google is a serial litigator. He likes to sue people who aren't ADA compliant. So he goes into businesses and looks for ADA violations and then promptly files a lawsuit against you. And I guess the guy makes about $1 million a year doing this.
Damn.
And so Jay's kind of in a bind. He's had to shut his store down because of it. And I don't know, he's trying to do some crowdfunding for his lawyer fees, but I don't know how that's going to go for him. But anyway, the point is, you really got to make sure you cover your bases when you do something like that. And had he got that business license, like I had kept trying to tell him to do, they would have told him about that ADA compliance stuff that he wasn't compliant with. The gentleman wasn't able to use the restroom in his home And so I guess that's part of ADA compliance is, they have to be able to get
I know
in there.
about ADA. Yeah, I've heard about that too.
Right. For anybody who doesn't know what it's the Americans with Disability Act.
Yeah.
And the sad part is and I'm not saying like Jay wasn't wrong in this situation because I mean obviously he wasn't compliant, but if the man was out there truly trying to like fight for people with disabilities to make sure that they are more accessible to businesses, trying to cripple a small business isn't going to make them more accessible. It's just going to shut the business down. And so this guy's motives are a little shady. If he really wanted to help the situation, he could have just, let him know that he was in violation and maybe give him a deadline. We're going to come back and check in a month or something. Yeah. But that's not this guy's objective.
No. He wouldn't be notorious for
right, because if
lawsuits.
you Google his name, the first thing that pops up is another lawyer telling you, hey, have you been sued by Jose Acosta? That's like the first thing that pops up. Contact us. It's probably going to cost poor Jay about $15,000. He's already 5 in the hole for the initial lawyer setup, but I mean, I can't imagine he's going to be able to. This guy doesn't settle, so, or if he does settle, he's settling for, I think, at least 10. So I mean, he's got himself in a bind. He's got his landlords in a bind. And what really is kind of the sad thing is he was planning on moving in December anyway. So he was just like a few months away I guess the guy actually went into a store a couple of months ago, but basically he was about 8 months or so away from avoiding this situation altogether. But that's just what happens,
That's
so
awful.
there's another tip. If you have a home business, make sure you're in compliance. If it's open to the public, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you're selling eBay items or Etsy products or something like that. But if it's it's an item where people actually have to come into your home.
I wonder if local pickup qualifies.
Well, local
you can
pickup.
do that outside, but
You could do it outside. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think local pickup would, but I would. You might want to make sure all your stuff's outside.
Yeah,
they
don't
ask
invite them into the home.
and say, sorry, that's not my house. I don't know. If someone rolls up in a wheelchair and asks to use a restroom, say, that's not my house. Sorry, buddy, I can't.
Well, that's the worst thing. The worst part about that is he doesn't have to be in a wheelchair. I'm sure you can.
Sure. He could probably be.
He can complain even if he's not personally affected. Yeah.
Sure. You're right. So, I mean, so you might want to think twice before having the general public come to your home. And I'm sure most people already do that anyway, but, something to think about.
Yeah. Well, that's a crazy story, yeah.
Okay, well, on that story, moving on to Eric.
Not very
Do I have to follow that?
Yes.
Yeah, mine is nowhere near as profound or as I was just going to mention, this is something that came up, I think I was reminded with a deal I made with Chris at Game On Expo. He gave me we worked out a trade where he gave me a roller controller for the ColecoVision. And the reason I was still interested in this is because I had previously purchased one at an expo, and it didn't work. And it was actually missing some internal components, which the guy didn't tell me about. Now, the lesson here, and I've learned that this has happened to me twice. And I guess what I want to point out is when I buy used hardware at expos, I like to consider myself, fairly, I ask them, does it work, or have you used it recently? Did it work or whatever? But, I have, the mistake I think I've made is that I look at this hardware and I say, oh, this is a pretty good price. This is what I'd be willing to pay for it, without understanding what the market price is. And I think what happened with both of these pieces of hardware, one of them was a off-brand. I think it was the Sears, Intellivision, what do they call it? The Super Video Arcade. It had been modded or whatever. And, I'm like, oh, this is a pretty reasonable price. I'd pay this for an Intellivision. Well, it turns out what I would pay for an Intellivision is not market price for an Intellivision. And so I think, the lesson here is if you see a piece of hardware, games I'm willing to take a risk on, games are likely to work. But if you see a piece of hardware at an expo and the price sounds too good to be true, you should probably understand what the going market price is for a working unit. And if the deal you're looking at is far below that, chances are this is as is or is not working. And even though I've asked the people, does this thing work or not, they've been elusive about their answers, and I've always taken a chance. But it's in both of these cases, it has not worked out for me. I have bought hardware at a discount that ended up not working. So I guess my message is be aware of what the market price of these things is to the best of your ability. I cripple myself by using a printed spreadsheet, and so I don't always think to check online for things. But know what you're looking at, know what the market price is before looking at some stuff, and use that as, I guess, a first order approximation of whether you think this thing is going to work. Because if they're well below market at an expo, chances are you've got a broken item, not a guy who doesn't know what he's got on his hands.
Right.
And so yeah, I bought 2 pieces of hardware that way, and neither one of them works, so now I'm stuck with something I'm going to have to repair.
I had a similar scenario with Atari Junior, 2600 Junior.
Oh yeah.
I picked it up at a garage sale, but I knew this guy was a reseller. Based on the number of things he had, he knew what he was talking about, that kind of stuff. Now, I'm looking back on it, and it wasn't a bad deal, but again, it didn't work, and he said it did. So I paid $70 for an Atari Junior.
Ooh.
ET boxed complete. Yara's Revenge. The rest of these are all loose. Yara's Revenge, Combat, Street Racer, Pac-Man, Robotank, Warlords, Missile Command. That's it. All that. Is that right? No, you know what? The $70 is wrong because that included other stuff. $50. I bought more from him that were actually a good deal. So $50 for all that.
The Junior was boxed as well, or no?
No, just the Junior with power cord.
How common are Ataris?
2 sticks. I mean, when they are posted, they seem to sell for fairly high.
Yeah,
especially the
bigger market here. That sounds really high, but I mean, it really does come down to the market too, because that's why I always tell people when they try to sell me Atari stuff in Fresno, I'm like, yeah, you're never going to sell it. I might be the only person who will buy it, so let's work a deal. But,
I knew that ET at the time sold for around 30, and this is before they dug up the ones from the desert, right? So I knew it was already worth 30, and my wife said, yeah, I'd like to have an Atari because I grew up with Atari. I'm like, fine, we'll get it. He says it works, let's go for it. Yeah, it doesn't work. Who knows? It might just need to be cleaned, but I wouldn't even know where to start on cleaning the pins on a friggin' Atari 2600. They got the little flap thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on it, and I'll probably redo the capacitors on it while I'm working on it anyway. And then the Junior sounds relatively easy to AV mod, so I'll probably do that too. It's just a matter of getting time to do it. Right now, it's just sitting in a bin under the shelf here. Whenever I get time and have room to put it on the shelf with other game systems, I'll take it upon myself to do that.
Well, I was listening to Fandango, and I heard Kevin had a $1 Atari in his dollar bin. How'd you miss that?
I didn't get over to his bins or his area for quite a while, actually. I went all the way around the other way. Yeah. Did it sell or not? Did he say?
Yeah, and
he
sold it. I mean, the guy kept asking him, like, you know, like, what's wrong with it? Are you sure? And he's just like, look, I can't imagine someone, if nothing else, the parts are worth $1. You know what I mean? Or just to stick it on the shelf and look at it is worth $1. At that point, if I was Kevin, I would have said, you know what? It's not for sale no more. Get the hell away from my table.
Keeping it.
He's probably a reseller just going to put it on his own table.
Probably, but I mean, you know, you have to know in that circumstance at a convention for $1, obviously it's got issues, or he wouldn't be selling it for $1. Yeah. And then he had the nerve to ask him if he had any of the cords or I don't know if he said controllers, but I'm pretty sure Kevin said the cords, and I'm like, no, dummy. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting anything else. This is all you get. The damn power adapter is probably a $10 adapter.
Oh, man. Yeah, I did not see it. I did dig through the dollar bin, but I don't remember seeing it. And I might have just saw it.
Thing he sold.
Okay.
Yeah. It sold pretty quickly, I think.
Makes sense.
But yeah, just know what the hardware is worth before up and down.
Yeah, and when they're a reseller, like you said, when they are a seller, you kind of already
You kind of should.
Should
Now,
be
see, in your
suspicious?
case,
I don't know.
$50 for that, I would have expected that to be a price that would indicate that it would work after all.
I
You know
agree.
what? At that price, you didn't buy the broken. That's not a broken price.
I agree.
That's it works.
Yeah, and that's what I
price.
wanted. I wanted to, plug it in and it's ready to go, right?
Yeah.
That's an it works price. I mean, because the amount that that ET might be worth something on the open market, but then you could have just bought the ET then. You know what I mean, and saved money.
Well,
so
he wanted to bundle it all.
No, I get that, but I mean, like,
yeah.
if you knew you were
Yep.
buying a broken console, then the play would have been just to go somewhere else and buy ET if that's what you really wanted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't do it again, and I'll be cautious if I see him again. Oh, I know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
me too.
I remember
Yeah.
how I knew he was a reseller. I've seen him at garage sales before. That's how I knew he was a reseller. I've seen him walk up and say, "Do you have any games?" And when I got there, his story was, "This is all my son's stuff.
Oh, of course.
He's a video game collector." But it doesn't really matter. The next time I went to his garage sale, I got a deal on some stuff. Like at the time, I got Deadpool for PS3. Oh, I'm typing in the wrong field. Deadpool for PS3 after it was fairly new, and I paid $2.50 for it. It was worth $20 at the time.
Oh no. Oh, you
Same
got a little
guy.
bit of your money back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Twisted Metal PS1 I got from him for $1. And then I think Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for $2.50, and that was worth $15.
Oh, that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. That was all from him this a different time, like months later. This is also all 2016 too, so
Okay.
a long time ago. All right, moving on. I have no story, so we'll just say that's my story because I forgot to think about a story.
Sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar stories.
So next section is discussion topic, collection update. We've already talked to Eric about this, so we'll not cover the basics. How do you track your stuff and stuff like that? We usually do with new people because you're not new. You're a veteran.
I'm a veteran. Yeah, I've been on.
Yeah. You're going to be our most repeat guest now.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah. I haven't had anybody else twice, have I? I don't think so.
No,
Anyway.
Well,
So-
technically me.
Yeah, you're not a guest.
You're a co-host.
I was a guest my first co-hosting episode or first, second, I don't know,
First, second, third, whatever.
something like that. That's all
So first is me in this section, collection budget update. I'm up to $127.93.
Nice.
And once I sell my PS4 to my brother, I will be at $412.93.
Wow.
Yeah. He's going to pay me for it what I paid for it, which is $300, which is pretty much going rate for a 1 terabyte PS4 Slim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, that covers everything I own in my collection that's how much that's not even how much I paid for it. That's how much I'm up on all the stuff in my collection, which is valued somewhere over 11, almost 12 grand. And that's
How do you have that?
Businessman.
Sorry?
How do you have that value?
So I do the value based on what I know it's selling for, or based on what price charging has it at. Whichever is lower, I think. I don't remember which one I did. Shit, where did I put that?
Does your spreadsheet connect to price charting?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you show me that once. Okay.
Yeah. It's not flawless. It's got its issues, but I mean, it's better than nothing. And those prices when they're when they come in from price charting are the US price. I don't calculate that. So I'm aiming a little low.
Yeah, okay.
And I also don't have values on everything. Like I have lots of things that don't have a value at all, whether it's price charting or my own.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth more than that, which reminds me I should probably add it to my house insurance.
Yeah, I need to do that too. I was talking to somebody about that.
Yeah. There's actually this is interesting for people. That's the only reason why I'm going to talk about it. But there's a game store in town that does quotes for insurance. They will come to your house, check out your collection, and do a book up of what the value is.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what they charge for it, but I've actually been meaning to go to that game store for a while now, and I have a coupon for them now in my pocket. So
Well, what makes them qualified?
what I would say is they sell in the retail market. So they know what these things go at retail price, right?
Well, I sell in the retail market. Tell me what their price is. I'll cut it in half and sign a piece of paper for you.
But you want your value to be fairly high because you want.
No. I meant I'll cut the fee in half.
Oh, the fee in half. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll cut the fee in half and sign whatever you need and send it off.
Well, they also do up like a binder with all your stuff, like a list. I don't know if it had. I thought it said it had photos as well, but I haven't checked with them to see what they actually do. I just remember hearing about it at the time they started it, maybe a year and a half ago. They may not even do it anymore. I'm not sure, but yeah. The guy that owns the store, everybody around here that is into collecting seems to really like him. So I think he's credible. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still adding stuff to my collection app, but so far I have 423 games in my app, in my collection, and I think the only thing I have left to add is Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color games. So maybe like 50 more or something like that. It's probably
Where does this data entry have to be? Oh, in your app, your collection.
In the app. So I'm using the CLZ Cloud Gamers or whatever it's called.
Okay.
App. Yeah.
Is that a pay app or is it free?
It's a paid app, and it's a one-time $18 fee for Android. I think it's the same for iPhone, but it does sync back to their website, and you can give that URL to other people to view your collection. Kind of neat.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. And that's CLZ Gamer or collectors with a Z.com.
Yeah, okay.
And I also used Google Rewards money, which is surveys you fill out to get money.
Yeah.
So that money was all free anyway.
All right.
Why not? What else?
I should do that.
That's it. Yeah, the app works pretty good. I think the only thing I've noticed that I wish it had is like price charting values for things. I wish that was in there, and I don't believe it is. Oh, you know what? It is on the website, so maybe it is on the app as well. Yeah, it could be. Then I wonder if there's a way to tally up what my whole collection's worth, because that would be interesting. All right. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to do that at some point. So moving on to Chris. Any collection update?
I don't have a price. I'm sure that's been established. I don't know what I've spent and what I've gained, but I know kind of a collection goal update is out of the 600 now. So the NES games complete for licensed and unlicensed combined is 768 games, but Cheetah Man 2 doesn't have a manual. So out of the 767 manuals, I am down to, well, as of this broadcast, I need 60 more, and I actually have a friend sending me 8, so I'm going to be down to 52 manuals to go. And I might actually have another manual, because I never actually even looked at I got a box Miracle Piano, and that manual might actually be in the box, so I might be down to 51. So it's 51 or 52 to go, one or the other. So that's my collection goal update.
Cool.
How about you, Eric? How's the Sega Master System going?
Well,
Getting them PAL games.
I got to get those PAL games, yeah. So you helped me out with Mortal Kombat 2. We mentioned that. I think, PRGE they don't typically have a lot of PAL. So I'm probably on hold on that.
What are you, like, how do you identify the PAL games? Just that they're not in the North American collection?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. Canada, it turns out, apparently gets a lot of them because, you guys run into them all the time. But basically, yeah, I know that they're not in the U.S. collection, and typically the ones that are U.S. only have a couple of identifying characteristics. They're English only on the packaging, and the manuals are a portrait orientation as opposed to landscape. Meaning they're taller than they are long. They're
Which
like,
only helps
like
if it has a manual.
Which only helps if it has a manual. But if you see multilingual on the back, typically that's not a U.S. release. I think Canada got a bunch of those because I see them all the time. Troy Canadian Retro was just somebody. No, it was not Troy. It was AC Decepticon got Ace of Aces, and that's not he just picked it up at a thrift shop, I think, and that's definitely not a U.S. release. So the big key is the multilingual and the manual being landscape
because every time I go to Barry Game Exchange and I see that vendor who always has the Master System games, I'm like,
yeah.
I wish I could be looking for stuff for Eric, but I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, he had a ton. And when I went there a year ago at Barry, I bought, I mean, that's the first guy I went to. He had quite a few games I wanted, but they didn't have manuals. And so I'm collecting, trying to collect CIB. You don't see a lot of loose Master System manuals. So you buy the game without the manual. You're not coming across the manual again unless you come across a complete copy. So
okay.
I typically, now Chris maybe has a different experience, but in my experience, you're not finding a lot of loose Master System manuals. So I tend to buy CIB.
Under PAL ones as well. Loose Master System PAL, right? Like manuals. It's making it even more obscure to find them, right?
Right. Yeah, if you were to try to find a loose PAL Master System manual, you're probably not going to find it.
I've never seen them. So I tend to buy CIB. But yeah, I'm still collecting the Master System. Always nice to get some, try to get some of those. I'm expanding. I'm moving out into the more esoteric stuff, but truthfully right now I'm not, I kind of am, I guess I'm gearing up for PRGE, so and I'm thinking of trimming some stuff too. So I don't know. I've said here in the notes I'm kind of in a holding phase. I don't suppose that's technically true because I keep buying stuff, but I'm well past the building stage where I'm buying whatever I can that's a good deal and adding it to the collection. I think I'm trying to be a little bit more choosy about stuff, looking for more of the higher end things and expanding into some other collectibles like books and guides and stuff like that. So, still interested in collecting. I think, I definitely spend more time managing my collection than I do playing the games, but, I don't know. I'm definitely looking at organization stuff right now. New shelves. I got some new shelves up, some new cases. I got some stuff I got to clean. So it's that maintenance and stuff, I'm doing right now and looking forward to PRGE and trying to figure out what it is I'm going to be looking for at PRGE. But it's fair to say that Master System PAL is always going to be something I'm on the lookout for.
Is there a difference between the red and blue labels?
From what I understand, the blue labels were just some later releases. I don't think there's anything different about the ROMs. There are those I do have the blue label variants on my list of things I want to I get. So whenever I go, so one thing that I still do is when I see U.S. Master System games, I kind of have it now memorized. I do have it on a list, but I have some of them memorized. I'll flip open the ones that are that I know have blue label variants just to check.
Now, would you care if you bought those loose, just the variant cards?
I only slightly. I have done. So I've done this twice. So I have a couple of blue label variants, and in both cases, what I did is I asked the vendor. I said, "I see you've got like in one case it was Reggie Jackson baseball, and the guy had it loose, but then he also had a complete copy, and I had my brother-in-law say, "Hey, how about if I switch the cartridges? You mind if I put the blue one in the case and then we buy the case?" And the guy was like, "No, that's fine." And I've done that with Double Dragon. Now it turns out I learned this from John Hancock. It turns out that I might have made, a cardinal sin of collecting by mixing and matching a case that didn't come with a blue label cart with a blue label cart. So those are things I might try to correct.
But is it actually different? Is there
well,
something different
there
about
could
the
be
artwork or manual?
couldn't there be maybe barcode difference, or there could be something on there, or some
I'm not
sort
sure.
of
Yeah,
copyright,
I'm not sure.
some sort of copyright print on it or something?
There could be copyrights. I know that you guys know that Master System has a very famous, clip art style box art. They actually re-released some of the games later with improved box art and different, the spine. John Hancock did a video on this, which is where I learned some of this stuff. The spine font is a much bigger text typeface. So it's a much bigger, it's much bigger. So they have made box art variants, and I think it's hard to say because the Master System tracking is not that great, but I think that there is some relationship between those box art variants and the blue labels. So
yeah, I was curious because you never know when a store is going to do the same thing. They've got a loose copy and they've got a box and manual. Put them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or this cart's in better condition. Let's swap it out and put it in this box, even though one's blue and one's red.
So I know that I've done stuff like that with being ignorant of it. I've done it with my Genesis collection, so I know that there are errors, and maybe over time as I really get into it, I might try to correct for those errors. But if I saw a blue label cartridge that was one that was a little harder to come by, I might just grab it and then throw it in an alternative case some point later.
So the blues are harder to come by, or like in general, which one's kind of harder?
For most for the games where so first of all, yes, I think it's fair to say that there's two versions of it, right? There's the ones that only came on blue label, and then there's the ones that came on both. Blue label in general are harder to find. So even the games where there's only blue label, those are going to be the harder to find games like Alan Skip,
interesting, because they were later.
Because they were later.
Okay.
And then the blue label variants I've always found as harder to find. Look, I grew up with the Master System. I didn't know about the blue label variants until just a few years ago. So I had never even come across one naturally. But that's probably because I got out of the Sega Master System before it had officially ended.
I was just curious. Like if I see a red one and a blue one, which one's the one that's actually worth more? You know what I mean? Or harder to find.
The blue one. Definitely. You definitely want to pick the blue. And so that's why when I got that Reggie Jackson for blue, it was kind of a deal because he kind of gave it to us for, he gave it
regular
for
Reggie
he
price.
gave it to he gave it to us for the kind of the regular price. So yeah, if you happen to come across any blue label, let me know, and I might be interested in some of them if you guys aren't. So yeah, there's some variants, there's some PAL. I'm doing all that stuff, but
yeah, I have no Master System, so I have no idea. I've thought about picking one up a few times, but I don't know if I'd ever play it or not. Just like the Atari.
What can I say? Objectively speaking, yeah, chances are there are some gems that are worth playing, but if you never played any of the Master System games, I don't know, what are you missing? Not much.
I loved Rambo.
Sometime.
Rambo.
I used to play the first Rambo, Rambo 2 First Blood.
Yeah. The one that's like Commando or something.
Yeah, kind of like
it's an overhead shooter.
Right, it's way better than Commando though. My friend, he was really big into Rambo at that time, and his parents. It was actually to his detriment because they knew he was into Rambo. They wanted to get him a video game system, so they bought him a Sega Master System instead of a Nintendo.
NES, yeah.
Which he didn't care because he wasn't that much into games, but I was over his house all the time. I kind of cared. I was like, dude, we could be playing Nintendo. But it was actually a really fun game. I mean, it had a pretty stiff learning curve at first, but or at least how I remember. Maybe my skills sucked then.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got used to it, it was really fun. We got pretty far in it.
Cool.
Actually, we beat it.
Really?
Not me and him, but me. Well, we had a third friend, and me and the third friend actually beat it.
Beat it? Okay.
Yeah, we kept playing it one night, and we beat it.
Cool. Yeah, there's a couple on there, Derek, but I don't know. Unless you're into collecting, I can't say it's a system you should get just to play the games.
Yeah, I could even just try them on emulation, right?
Yeah, that's a way.
The ones that are on my modded system probably are the better games anyway. I just need to fire it up and give it a shot.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on to the next section, listener questions. So you can tweet #DDAnswers if you have any questions for us for the next episode. We're asking in the Cartridge Club forums or the Dollar Dorks or in the comments of the YouTube videos. So first question is from, actually this is reverse order, but who cares? From Julian Vega at, the Latin legend, Latin_legend. So I sold my first item, he said, but I didn't know there was a waiting period from eBay before I get paid. Does the waiting period ever go away, and is there a way to speed up the waiting period? #sold Yeez Origins. #finally. #I help P2.
Yeah.
Because I still have a copy of Yeez Origins that I picked up for P2 as well.
Yeah, a bunch of us did that.
Yeah, so me and Julian both picked it up for him, and he picked it up himself as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Mine's still sitting in a box. Yeah, exactly. It's just limited run is the problem.
Yeah.
We'd help out P2, and of course he got it himself. And even if he hadn't, there still would have been one of us with it left over. I'm just trying to get my money back on it, and it's just not selling. There's too many out there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's still.
It wasn't that limited, was it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And I did take it to a local store to say, like, what would you give for me? Because I'm sure they would sell it for a lot. Most
Sure.
places do. But they had no listing in their system for the limited edition one, only the regular game. So they were only going to give me what they would give me for the regular game, which was like 20 frickin' bucks or something.
No.
I'm like, yeah, no.
I'll just keep that.
Keep it, try my chances somewhere else, or I can try another store too. I might just.
What
give
system
that a
is it
shot.
for again? I missed that.
Vita.
Vita, that's right. Yeah, well, that was your first
PS4 was an
mistake.
option as well, but I picked Vita because that was what P2 wanted. Yeah, I'll whatever. I don't mind taking a little loss on it because I've like you know my gaming collection's more than paid for everything, right?
Right.
So at this point, I just want to get a decent amount for it. I got to go, like I said, to that game store that does the quotes. I was thinking of taking it there. I've been filling a box full of stuff here to take to them and just see what they'll give me. Because I don't mind getting store credit and picking up some stuff. Maybe another PS4. We'll see. So the next question is...
wait. We
never
never
answered
answered
Oh,
Julian's.
sorry. My God. We started answering a bit.
Right.
Chris answered it a little bit, but you had more details, right?
Okay, so according to the site, you have to be a seller within good standings, and part of being in good standings is you have to be selling for at least 3 months since your first completed sale. Obviously, feedback would be an issue if you're having defect returns, stuff like that. That would ding you. But if you don't have any of that, you need to have at least 25 completed sales with a total value of $250. So you have
Is there a
25
time-
sales. Huh?
Is that lifetime or is that like within the last?
I didn't see
year?
anything to indicate that. I didn't see anything that indicated that it expired, but you have to be within current. I would imagine if you were 6-7 years behind, they might make you make some sales again.
Yeah.
But according to the site, it said that you have to at least be 3 months since your first completed sale. At least 25 completed sales, $250, and also be in good standings. That means, you know, shipping the stuff off on time, shipping what the buyer bought, you know, things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the information that I got from eBay.
Yeah, I see that now too. That's for your account to no longer be considered a new seller.
Right.
There's also for each particular transaction, while you are a new seller, there's also criteria to get your money as well. Like I think it's 21 days after the buyer pays. 3
Which I
days
kinda
after.
gave you- Right, I told you how you can kind of beat that, but
Yeah. And then 3 days after we can confirm that the order was delivered using tracking. 3 days after we can confirm the order was delivered if you use PayPal.com and ship inside the US. Same thing, I guess. I don't know what the hell the difference is. And then 7 days after your latest estimated delivery date. So that's like, I guess, if you don't have tracking, probably.
right.
Yeah, so those are the ways to get your money quicker.
And the good way to beat that 25 thing is post up a bunch of cheap items. And the 250 is going to be what it is. You're going to have to make that number. But in order to get 25 sales, you know, maybe you put up 25 items you're only making a very slight profit on, or maybe even breaking even on. It would be worth it to you to get that restriction off your account if you want to continue to be a seller. If you're just a casual seller, then probably not worth the effort. But if you're really wanting to try to make some extra money on eBay, you know, don't shy away from small items, you know, with small profit margins, because it could be, as long as, you know, it feels like a safe item that you're not going to regret selling type of thing. But I remember selling a lot of smaller, you know, like just Nintendo games, you know. I would only be making maybe $3 or $4 on it, but that helped me get to that achievement early on. I've heard of people selling even, I don't know. I remember Jay telling me you should print out 20 digital images and sell, and I ain't doing that shit. But there's people who do things like that to get away around it. They sell, like I noticed, like sometimes I got a lot of my cheap NES manuals that were only $1 shipped. You know what I mean? I know that that's all it was about. Is the guy didn't care. He wanted to get rid of them. He didn't mind not making any money off of it, but he was looking for the feedback.
And he probably also wanted to go to a collector rather than just sitting in his pile of shit.
Probably that could be part of it too.
Yeah. I've got a whole bunch of manuals I should be doing that with, but I just haven't yet. They're mostly Xbox 360, not anything good. All right. So the next question is from Mike. From the Retrolectors. That's at Retrolectors. What is the trick when selling to the U.S. / Canada? I'm not sure what he meant there, but our shipping here in Canada is ridiculously high. How do you increase how do you increase sales? Sounds like a kind of a two-fold question. Maybe even threefold if you consider selling to the U.S. or to Canada if you're in the U.S. But
right, I think so. He's in Canada.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to say how do you sell to America and also or to U.S. and we're all America. How do you sell to the U.S. and how would you increase sales? The opposite way, going to you guys, I would say use a global shipping program to not have to worry about stuff. But coming from you, I mean, you say you don't sell, so what I would do is open it up to international shipping. Make sure you're not screwing yourself on the shipping fees. Figure it out.
Yeah, I would use Calculated if I was shipping to the States.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And there are going to be some items that you have that we can't get, and we'll buy it. And really, you're going to have to be competitive with your price. That's just really what it's going to come down to. If you're above, if your price is higher than the States, they're not going to buy it. Unless somehow your item is such pristine condition, it supersedes the price. You know what I mean?
The last one left.
That type of thing. But I'm saying if there's competition out there, you're going to have to beat the market if you want to sell to the States. The problem is your guys' shipping is disastrous. I mean, shipping out, it costs a fortune. It costs a fortune to ship it to you. I don't know. Maybe vote.
No, I don't think
like that ever
fix
comes
it.
up to vote. I don't know.
We have so much land mass and so few people. It's just not cost effective is the problem, I think.
Yeah, but maybe instead of them paying 100% of your health care, maybe they just pay 99% of your health care.
Oh my God. I don't want to go into that. All right. And how do you increase sales? Competitive pricing, good pictures, like we've talked about before. Make sure you got good lighting. Make sure you use as many photos as you can, right? Even with games. With games, I'm taking a picture of the front, a picture of the back, a picture of the inside, a picture of the back of the disc if it's a disc-based game.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a cartridge-based game, you can open it up and just take a picture of the inside to alleviate any doubt that it could be a fake, right?
And if it's a substantial purchase, I'll show a picture of it playing.
Yes, I have seen you do that too.
Yeah, if it's I'm not gonna usually waste my time if it's like a $12 item or something. Unless I'm listing a bunch, then I'll just do it. Like if I'm listing like 10 Super Nintendo games, I'll just do that with all of them because it doesn't take much more time to throw in one extra game. But I will for sure do it if the game's a little pricier, and I'll even open it up and show the board. I'll cover every angle.
Gotcha. Yep. That's reminding me I need to do that damn listing for that monster cable. All right. So next question is from Mrs. QDawg, Melissa, Eric's wife.
Yeah.
For each of you, what is your worst eBay experience? All right. Eric, you kind of went. Did you go over one? I thought you did. No.
I have one. She's trying to embarrass me by asking.
Okay.
Because she knows the story. And I've told it before, but I'll mention it quickly here. My worst eBay experience, and this was back in 1999 or 2000. I bought Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo, complete in box, from Canada, and from someone in Canada. In fact, they were from Mississauga, which I now know more because I know. Yeah, I hope it wasn't Troy. And what ended up happening was I did it through eBay, and I was not the top bidder. And so the guy comes back later and says, "Hey, the top bidder flaked out. There's one. Do you want it? You're the second highest bidder." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll take it." Now, back in these days, there was certainly not the level of protection that eBay has now. But I distinctly remember that there was a notion that if the first bidder flaked out, that you could go to the second bidder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Now, he did it. There wasn't, again, eBay was nowhere near as sophisticated as it was. And I don't remember the details, but he contacted me and I said, yeah. So I sent him the money. There was no PayPal.
No,
there was
you were sending a money order. Or
I was
check,
sending
right?
a money order.
Right.
And the thing never arrived. And I contacted the guy and he says, well, I don't know what to tell you. I sent it, and there was no tracking or anything like that. And I contacted eBay. I said, hey, look, this guy scammed me. We went through he said I was the second highest bidder, and we went through that thing, and eBay said, well, there's nothing I can do to help you. You didn't. This isn't a thing. They pretended like that. They indicated that what I was talking about made no sense, and I don't know what I don't know what I was thinking, what I did at the time, but basically I was out. I think I paid $80 or $90 for this thing, complete in box, and I thought I was going through eBay's their approved methods of dealing with this thing, but they didn't help me and I didn't push the issue, so I ended up buying it again. But for the longest time, I mean, it kind of turned me off of buying outside the U.S. Certainly, I don't know if Canada. I don't think Canada had anything to do with it. Maybe. Maybe the guy did send it. Maybe it got picked up in customs, or maybe it was a scam because I was the second highest bidder. Maybe he scammed a bunch of people this way.
Yeah.
But I
don't
thought
know
I
how
was
many
protected.
people he contacted.
Yeah, and I couldn't leave feedback because I wasn't the buyer. I wasn't the bidder. So as far as eBay was concerned, they knew they had no record of this. I just sent the guy money. But I swear at the time they had a policy that said something about going through. But it wasn't. The website was nowhere near as sophisticated as it is now.
No,
so
those were the dark days.
They didn't have the automatic protections that they do, and so I don't know if I made a mistake or not. But I was out $80, and I figure, whatever. What's to say about it? That was the worst experience, and actually, it's the only bad experience I've had on eBay. I had one other where a guy said he was selling me something new, and it was clearly used because it had dust all over it. A new Sega CD system that was nowhere near new. But that was maybe my fault, too, because the guy had pictures, and it was like, well, I thought he just took it out of the box to show them in the pictures, but maybe I should have been like, hey, why is this stuff all out of the box? Anyway, no big deal there. Melissa knows the story. So I ended up paying quite a bit of money for Final Fantasy II for the SNES because I bought it twice. And only got one copy. It was so good, I bought it twice. Anyway, that's my story.
Chris,
I don't know what to say about it. Yeah.
I haven't really had many bad experiences. I touched on one earlier with the carousel that I sold. I didn't say the item, but that's what it was. It was like a music box. But one for someone who bought something from me that was kind of it turned out fine, but it was very stress-inducing for a couple of days. So a guy in Europe was going through some of my ads, and normally I don't sell outside of the global shipping program. But if somebody contacts me, if they're willing to pay the extra fees and all that, so I'll make arrangements. But I had a magazine lot, High Times magazines. It's like it's a marijuana magazines, right?
Yeah.
And it was like from January to December, and one of the key issues in there was the Cypress Hill issue. This was when Cypress Hill was kind of a new rap group, and, they were really popular, so it's a really popular issue, and that one probably held the bulk of the value for the whole lot. Well, he just wanted to buy that one, and so I was like, we went back and forth, and I negotiated a price with him, which was basically what I wanted for the whole lot. I told him I'd send him the whole lot. He said he just wanted that magazine. And I was like, well, I'm not going to budge on the price. So anyways, he ended up paying the price. He was happy. He was thrilled. He thanked me probably 100 times within a few minutes, right? Which that should have been my first mistake.
I was going to say, that should be an indication.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't 100 times, but I definitely probably got 5 or 6 messages from him thanking me about doing the deal. And I know they were different because they weren't all worded the same. Yeah. So that was probably my first mistake. So anyways, I sent it off. I didn't have a chance to send. I mean, we negotiated this, and it's like 8 o'clock at night, my time. So I told him I'd send it out in the morning. So when I wake up in the morning around 5 a.m. to go to work, I noticed I had 3 messages from him already. And it was just like, hey mate, I haven't got the tracking number. It hasn't said shipped yet, mate. And then the next one was a little more frantic. Hey, why aren't you replying to me, mate? And he said mate every time, which ended up becoming funny to me. And then the third one was, do I have to contact eBay? What's going on? Are you trying to rip me off? And I was like, man, it hasn't even been like 24 hours yet, dude. So I messaged him, I had sent it off. I just ignored him until I got back from work, and I sent it off. I messaged him, let him know, look, my post office wasn't even open yet. You're not really thinking about the time. There's a big time difference between, I think he was in Scotland, and I was like, there's a big time difference, buddy. Like, like Google it. You know what I mean? Like, I hadn't got up yet. So, okay, no problem. And then, so I'm thinking, great. And he's happy again. He thanked me again numerous times. Then the next day, I start getting messages from him again. Well, actually, it wasn't the next day. It was later that day. The tracking number hasn't updated yet. And I was like, I know, it takes a few hours. Relax. You have the tracking number, but it says you haven't shipped it. He goes, that's the way it works. Give it a couple hours. Check it in the morning. All right. So I guess he must have spent all night Googling, and now he's like paranoid that they're going to charge him import fees. Why do I have to pay that? Do I have to pay that? What if I never get it? I mean, now, granted, this man paid like $120 for one magazine. I'm not saying I don't understand some of his stress, but I didn't force him to do this. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. He could have bought all the magazines. He just chose I just want the one.
He probably just didn't want to pay the shipping for all of them, right?
I guess, but I mean, either way, either way, this was his deal, not mine. I didn't ask him to look up my ad and ask for it. So then I had like the next, I knew you were going to try to scam me and and you knew about that. And like, he's just so frantic and angry. And of course, he's still saying mate probably like 5 times and everything, which I found comical because you're mad at me, but yet I'm your mate. I don't get this. So, and then I had to step back and think about it. I was like, okay, wait a minute. This guy's buying high time magazines. He's probably just paranoid because he's high. You know what I mean? So
yeah, makes sense.
So I got back to him. I'm like, listen, I want you to know, like, I'm honest. I'm not trying to burn you. I'm very happy with the sale. You will get it. I will talk to you every day if that's what it takes. I'm not going to abandon you on this. If there's fees, we'll work it out when it happens. You know what I mean? Don't stress until it happens. I try to talk him off the ledge. Yeah. And he was, I don't know if he's bipolar because he kept going back and forth. He would be happy, then I'd get a message later telling me how come you haven't got it yet? And I'm just like, oh my God. I was like, it's going to take you about 13 days. And it actually got there sooner than that, but he let me know the second it got to the country. And he was thinking, oh my God, it's tied up in customs. And it wasn't. It was just going through customs, So finally, he got it. And he wrote me an apology letter and then I guess I got on my little high horse and told him about, maybe you should not think the worst of people and give people a chance to prove you wrong.
2 weeks later, he was scammed.
Right. Like, think about this in future deals. You know what I mean? Like, but, it all worked out great, and I was thrilled with the sale, obviously, but man, it was a stressful week. Wow. To say the least. Keep in mind when you sell a potheads, it might go that way.
So if you turn around and sell that Beavis and Butthead, get ready for the same thing.
Right. I will not be shipping it overseas. I'll tell you that one.
All right. So for myself, I can't remember a year for sure, but my guess would be around 2002. I'm guessing I was using eBay. At the time I was getting into car stereo stuff, subwoofers, CD players, like decks in the car, putting amplifiers in and all that crap. And I found a lot on eBay, which I can't remember if it was in Canada or not, but I think so. But I can't remember how much I paid now. For some reason I'm thinking like $380 or something in my head sounds right, but it sounds too high. But it included like a CD player, like deck for a car. There was like some crappy brand like Koss, and another deck that I can't remember, but it was a crappier brand somehow and not working. And then like a subwoofer and a box and some speakers. I can't remember what all was in it, but all I remember is paying a crap load of money, thinking I got a deal, and then it arrives and I open it up and like everything is way worse condition than he described. Nothing worked. I'm pretty sure out of everything, the only thing I was able to salvage and use was like the box, the subwoofer box. I'm pretty sure. And I think that may still be the subwoofer box I have upstairs. I think. Or in the garage, I mean. I can't remember how much it was or any of the details except that I just remember this COS CD player that I wired up and it didn't work. And there was a disc still in it that was scratched to crap and it was just a bad experience. And it was, again, back in the old days of eBay. I do not remember if I got any money back or if there was any way to get, I'm sure I didn't get any money back because I remember being sour on eBay for years after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, man. No.
All right.
The worst.
Yep. Why'd we answer this question? Screw you, Melissa.
Yeah, no kidding. Bringing us all down, man.
Bringing up all this negativity.
What was your best eBay experience? Is what we should have answered. Anyway.
She wanted to embarrass me, I think.
Probably.
Just
Embarrass
sucker.
all of us instead.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hashtag thanks.
They're useful lessons for other people, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, most
somebody
of them aren't
else.
an issue anymore because they're old, right? Mine and
Yeah.
yours are old eBay stuff. It's not a problem anymore. Like.
Well, there you go. There's the thing, right? Our worst eBay experiences are behind us, and eBay's made real improvements to make sure those don't happen anymore, right?
Yeah. Actually, I believe I had used my mom's credit card at the time because I'm pretty sure I was in like grade 11. And I'm pretty sure she called Visa, the credit card company, and got the money back that way.
Disputed it, yeah.
Yeah, they just gave the money back and said whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Probably
Well,
why
I don't think
eBay
we're
doesn't
actually-
accept credit cards anymore, huh?
Yeah, well,
Didn't they put the kibosh on that?
What's
I
that?
don't think
Yeah,
you
I have
can.
no idea.
well,
I think
through
eBay
PayPal you still can, but
can you on credit cards through PayPal?
yeah, my PayPal is only through credit card.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
know.
that I set up a long time ago, so who knows? But I don't know.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I had the impression that you couldn't do it anymore, but maybe that's just for selling.
It's possible.
It's like to have a seller account, like
Well, mine's a seller account, and I only have a credit
Yeah.
card. On it.
yeah, but how are they going to do a chargeback? Like when they freeze money, how are they going to do that to a credit card?
I assume that there's some kind of built-in way in the credit card system to do that,
Okay.
but I don't know. But also, if I haven't spent the money or put it into a bank account,
Well,
it's
in your
sitting there as
PayPal.
PayPal credit,
Right.
so that's easy for them.
Right,
to
but
do.
let's say you had pulled out all your. I'm just saying in the theory.
yeah,
If your PayPal was empty
yep.
and your credit card was maxed, but I guess your bank account could be delinquent too. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's
that's true.
move on. Yeah.
All right. Well, next section is suggested content. Anything you want to suggest to listeners, check out YouTube videos, channels, podcasts, game, movie, TV show, etc. Starting with Eric.
Can I do two?
Sure.
Okay, so let me
First time.
start. Let me actually start with Disc Cart. This is a guy who's been doing a lot of videos lately. He's up and coming YouTuber, I think. He does a lot of videos on collection displays, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of alternatives. I think he buys and checks out all these products. I've been watching him a lot lately because, like as I mentioned, I'm in the time of year where I'm always thinking about how to improve my game room display and stuff like that. So he's on YouTube, Disc Cart, fantastic YouTuber.
I like
And
him
then
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great.
And he's in the
And-
Cartridge Club too.
And he's in the Cartridge Club. That's right. The other thing I want to do, which is less related to maybe Dollar Dorks, but it's something I want to make a shout out to, is a new podcast called Shoot the Core. This is through the RF generation. This is the Shoot 'em Ups podcast for people. They're doing a game of the month for Shoot 'em Ups. You know, your Gradius, R-Type, Raiden series, things like that. So I think they've done 2 or 3 now. I'm listening to the first one. It's a pretty high quality podcast. Very informative, very knowledgeable hosts on there. So give that a listen if you're into shoot 'em ups. I've been enjoying the first episode greatly.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm just gathering links, checking it out. I did actually see somebody talking about that on Twitter, but I can't remember if it was you or somebody else. I do follow some of the RF Gen guys, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's through RF Gen. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Next is me, and first of all, as a kid, I don't know how this came up, but I was always a fan of Macaulay Culkin, especially around the time of Home Alone. I think when the movie came out, he was like 1 year older than in the movie than I was at the time. He was a blonde kid, and I was a blonde kid, and I don't know, just always related to him. And so I just recently he's had his own podcast, and he's been getting into YouTube videos. He's been doing YouTube videos as like a guest, promoting his podcast with other YouTubers, including the one I actually recommended last week, which was Modern Rogue. So anyway, he has his own podcast called Bunny Ears, and it's pretty funny. They just cover a wide range of topics. They have guests on, like celebrities and people like that. And it's just a funny, fun podcast. With
Did you
Macaulay
see
Culkin.
when he contacted James ABGN on Twitter,
No.
saying that he wanted to do a collaboration with him?
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, I wonder
Makes
if they're
sense.
working
He's
on
done
that
a
behind
lot
the
of
scenes.
YouTube collaborations lately, promoting his
If he
podcast.
did that, that'd be awesome, because I can imagine what James could do with that. You
Home
know?
Alone game?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of Home Alone games. I don't think he's covered them, and even if he has, fuck it, do it again.
So there's 46 episodes. Some of them are mini episodes. They do like a mini episode on every national holiday they've started doing. I think one of them was National Potato Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
Just
that has
mini
to be a
episodes,
holiday.
like little 5-10 minute things. But some of the interviews they've had with people I've listened to are pretty good. I just actually see that he had one with Kevin Smith. I must have missed that one. I don't know. There's one with Seth Green. Yeah, a lot of good, interesting podcasts or episodes and guests. So anyway, moving on to Chris. That was Bunny Ears podcast. If anyone missed that. So Chris,
The new episode or the new season of Ozark on Netflix came out a few days ago. I think on August 31st. It was really good. I mean, if you haven't seen the show at all, it's essentially kind of Breaking Bad, but with money laundering. But it's really good. Stars Jason Bateman. He's actually also the director.
okay.
Totally recommend that. And speaking of Breaking Bad, the new season of Better Call Saul is out, and it is great. It feels so much. I mean, it's basically two shows in one now. It's half Breaking Bad, half Better Call Saul. So if you dig Breaking Bad, I recommend both of these shows. Obviously, Better Call Saul because it's the spinoff / prequel. But Ozark, if you enjoyed the one, you will probably enjoy Ozark.
Okay.
Cool.
I haven't checked out Better Call Saul. I keep meaning to. Actually, I haven't even finished Breaking Bad. I watched
Dude.
half of the first season with my wife, and then she lost interest in it. So it's just getting time to watch something alone, right? Especially something that's got so many episodes now. Yeah.
Why you binge?
I know, but you gotta have time to binge. We got so many other things to binge. I watched the what's it called? Hunger Games movies while I was rewiring my
Okay,
TV
no,
here.
you can't say Hunger Games and Breaking Bad in the same.
I know, but at least
Crap.
Hunger Games
Sorry,
is like,
dude.
like 2 hours each, and there's 4 of them. Whereas,
right. I mean, if you were,
Bad is like way longer.
I mean, if you were a teenage girl, I would agree with you, man. But come on, Hunger
I always
Games.
heard they were good movies, and I'm like,
Did you
let's
follow
see for
that
myself.
up with a Twilight marathon, or?
I watched the first one, and I asked in the Cartridge Club Discord, is it worth watching the rest? And Frantic replied back saying, if you like the first one and the premise of the world, watch the rest.
All right.
They weren't great, but they were pretty good. Let's see what Breaking Bad's total playtime is. How many hours? 62 episodes, 2 days and 14 hours for all 5 seasons.
Look at that. Just
62
get some
hours.
meth. Actually get the meth. Really get into the show.
Yeah.
Buy some meth. Do the meth, and you can knock it out in 3 days.
It sounds expensive. All right. Well, Yeah. And again, I'm kind of like Eric. You know how you don't only want to play games in order. I don't want to watch Better Call Saul until I'm done watching Breaking Bad.
Well,
Too.
now that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Otherwise,
That
I
makes
would
sense.
check out a couple episodes of Better Call Saul and see. But at this point, I'm at a point in Breaking Bad where I even know who Saul is. So
No, you don't want to do that. Watch Breaking Bad first.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So plugs. Eric is at MightyQDawg on Twitter and at MightyQDawg on YouTube as well.
Yep.
With his wife, go watch if you haven't already. Chris is at CWR2. That's CWR and the number 2 on Twitter and on Instagram. I am Derek of Two Dorks. That's TWO Dorks, just to confuse you. And we are all members of the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org, community of content creators, gamers, collectors, etc., and great people. So check out the Cartridge Club. Thank you guys for being on again with me.
Thank you. This is fun.
I'm glad you had fun, and I sure hope you get some stuff listed on eBay.
You will be the first to know. You guys.
Well, I still have to set up an RSS feed. Then I'll be the first to know.
Yeah, okay.
All right, and thanks for listening. Cha-ching.
Here, I'll help out. I'll also do a search on my phone.
This
Here.
is so useless. Oh, and this is part of the... No, it's not.
Media funds on eBay. Yeah, close.
Come on,
Siri.
we're going to do a segment now. Ask Siri.
Right. I know, we need to steal their gimmick. Hey, Siri. Oh, and then she listens. No, I'm not serious. Siri, go away.